For those of you in the paddock today, and for those of you tuning in live from all around the world, welcome to Cup Kart's North America Grand Nationals 8, the biggest edition of this event, the biggest edition of any race event in North America in 2024. Over 635 entries have absolutely packed the house here at Castle Motorsports Park. Warm-up is underway for the AM groups here to get them going first thing here in the morning. We appreciate all of you tuning into the live feed and getting ready to watch the live coverage from today. Myself, Xander Clements, alongside me, of course, the voice of Cup Karts North America, Dave Mack, and Tony the Toe Cirillo here, the captain of the CKNA East Division, and who will be calling the races as well, along with the three of us. Caleb Vieska, who will be down on pit lane. Simon Sykes will also be more than likely joining us in the commentary booth, and potentially some of our other superstars amongst the 525 plus individual drivers that are here this weekend. I know for both of you guys, of course, this is Christmas weekend, Dave and Tony. This is the big congregation of everyone, and for those watching as well, you'll notice that we've got some light poles on the racetrack. We are racing under the lights during the day, and well, you got to, because you don't have enough daylight to fit 635 entries on the racetrack all in this October hour here, Tony.
Yep, you're definitely correct with that, and the big thing is here we are with the best of the best. And I mean, it's going to be a hard race. I mean, I can make predictions, but I think, Xander, you know some of these people that I never heard of coming here. People from New Zealand, Bermuda, California, Arizona, you name it. Texas has a big entry here. And the Canadians, 100 Canadians I hear are here. So we got all divisions represented, the East, the South, Canada, and the North, all represented. And all of their top drivers have registered for this race, besides any other superstars that might be here.
Well, you'll see, folks, if you watch the CKNA Grand Nationals 8 from last year, we do have a little bit of a different live timing and scoring leaderboard on the left-hand side. We'll update that to show you about the karts on the racetrack here, give it a little refresh for the kid karts that are making their way down the front straightaway. They're on the alternate layout here at Castle Motorsports Park. They'll be running a slightly shortened layout on the circuit compared to the full distance that the rest of the classes will be going. It's a slight change from years past, where the kid karts, you'll see first and foremost, this is the same that they have run, I believe, for the last couple of iterations, if not all of the iterations of the Grand Nationals. But the one difference for this year from those that tuned in for our coverage from CKNA Grand Nats 7 is after this shark fin that the kid karts go through, typically in the Grand Nats the years past, we try to shorten those straightaways, make it less about the draft, so everybody would go through this 180 right here and cut the straightaway a little bit short. Sometimes, some years, we've even used that bus stop, that entry off to the left-hand side. But this year, to make sure that we had enough space for what's basically 60 go-karts on track in almost every single session, we have gone all the way to the standard I-70 hairpin and back. Which means that, well, that draft, that pack racing, Tony, it's going to definitely rear its head. It's not like it hasn't before. You just have that when you've got so many good drivers on such good equipment, all at the limit, all running the same lap times at the front. It's going to be a pack whether there's draft or not. But now there's a little bit more of that slipstream effect, and the gear is going to have to change a little bit.
Yep. And with 26 kid karts, I mean, that is really unbelievable. We thank the parents for bringing these children here today to race. I know some of them had to travel some great distances. 26 kid karts. I mean, these are the future racers. And as Xander was saying, talking about the track changes, we're going to see some good racing here today, of course, on our East. I know our East champion, Spencer Height, he is one of the top people that people are going to be watching. But we do have a lot of people that we've never seen before at a CKNA race, traveling great distances to be here in this kid kart class, which is just unbelievable. You know, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. We're thrilled to death to have everybody out here. My last count, I had 6 countries are represented here, 6 individual countries, so we're very, very proud and happy of that. One thing that I noticed, Tony, we've got a bunch of two-stroke people that have never raced with us.
And that's why I'm looking for Xander to help us out there, because there are some two-stroke people. There are some people that do run two-stroke and four-stroke, but we got some dedicated two-stroke people here too, and that's why I'm saying it's going to be hard to predict who's going to be our Grand National champions by the end of this race here on Sunday.
Yep. I know Skitchy Barnes is here. Scott Skitchy Barnes from Bermuda is normally a two-stroke guy.
Yep.
His buddy Jason Scudzy North
Bermuda
is also Bermuda. So sorry, it threw me off for a second.
We got some people from New Zealand.
Oh, bunch of New Zealand Kiwis. Yeah, there's at least 20 of them here. I think 6 are racing and there's 14 support people.
Wow.
So very happy. They told me it took them a day and a half to get here.
Wow.
They just had a terrible time. And at breakfast this morning, I had breakfast in the restaurant here at 7 o'clock this morning, and they said it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon for them. So they're completely upside down. They said they can't sleep at night. You know, they're just having a terrible time. But they're good. They're real good people. So I always like the Kiwis out here. France, we have what am I thinking? U.S., Canada, of course.
Wow.
And a bunch of Canadians. I never did get a final tally on the number of Canadians,
but
around
like
100. Yeah. So hats off to them.
We thank Gerald and Marie for doing that and running that Canadian series. It's been so successful, and for having them actually come to our race.
Yeah, they work so hard. You know, I work all the Canadian races too, and I just love going up there. All the Canadian racers are wonderful. We're so happy to have them. Actually, they have me because I'm invading their country. But yeah, I'm very, very happy to go up and work all the Canadian races too. So
yeah, I did a quick count. I mean, it's probably not totally accurate. Texas, 22 people from Texas registered.
And that's unusual. That's really growing. Cup karts is really starting to pick up some Texans.
Arizona 18, California 8, Oregon 1, Washington, the state of Washington 3, Oklahoma 3, Nevada 6, and Montana 1. No Utah, right?
No Utah yet. I've had that bounty for years and years and years, and I still haven't had to pay it. If anybody ever enters from the state of Utah, if you're listening at home, I will pay you cash. I don't know how much, probably just $5, but you're going to be the winner, and that bounty has been on the table for years, and nobody. And of course, my favorite story is Stacy Gunn. She's just a hoot. Stacy Gunn heard me say that many, many years ago. First time I said it, Stacy Gunn immediately went into her Facebook account and changed her hometown to somewhere in Utah. So, Stacy, you were so funny.
So, yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. I mean, we know we got our top races from the north, south, Canada, and east. We know they're the top people that have won championships in all those divisions. But then we have these visitors from out of the normal divisional racing. So it is going to be a great race here today. And I mean, by Sunday, we will see who the Grand National champions are.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing that last year we had stickers that you put on your helmet that said, I made the feature. I made the main event. I actually made it to that. Well, that's a lot to be proud of. That's just amazing. Anybody who does make it to the main event, because obviously with 600, and we don't have an official tally yet, but somewhere around 625, 630, something like that. That's a lot of people, and if you make the main event, you're a big deal. You can go home and brag to your friends and neighbors, and you really are a great big deal. So,
yeah. So I mean, that's going to be the thing. I mean, I know in some classes, especially medium and light, that there are at least 10 to 15 people that I would say you could bet that could win this race, not counting the ones we don't know about and what's their background. Xander might have some information on some of them. If you make the feature in this race, you definitely got to feel good about yourself no matter what. If you can make the feature in some of these classes that have over 100 people registered, you're really doing good. So this is the race of all races, as Xander was saying. It's so big that we had to go under the lights, and we'll have those lights hooked. We have those lights out there already, and we're ready for this. And with all the activities that are going on, especially on Saturday night with the out-of-the-box race and the All-Star race, it is going to be a whole different weekend than it's ever been here at the Grands.
And anybody who's not familiar with Cup Karts, and I was talking to my little buddy Kip Knaus this morning at breakfast, and Kip did not realize that, and I think he's 5 years old or 6 years old or something. It's his first year racing kid karts, but he didn't realize every single one of these people has identical engine. Unlike all of the racing series where you have a bunch of different engines, everybody has a Briggs 206 engine here. Briggs & Stratton makes it just a fantastic engine. It's basically indestructible, and it's just really something to be proud of over at Briggs. But everybody is running the same engine now. They have what everybody knows NASCAR. They used to refer to it as restrictor plate. We have slides, different slides, and a few differences. But the engine is identical. I mean, it's the same engine for everybody out there, from the super fast guys to from the kid karts, 5, 6, and 7 years old, all the way up to the 70 whatever years old, running really fast. So.
Yeah, and that's one thing we got to thank Briggs & Stratton for. Back, I don't know how many years ago when they came out with this 206, it is a real racing engine. It is not one of their lawnmower engines. Yeah. They have a special division, and they made the rules so that I'm going to say this is the best spec racing you can find. And similar to NASCAR. I mean, NASCAR is pretty much spec at this point.
Yes.
And like you said, not having actual restrictors, but we have different slides that each class, like junior, kid karts, have to place. The black slide is the one that is wide open, and that's for the senior classes and the upper junior classes that you could put the black slide in. So Briggs & Stratton has made this thing possible and made this racing so close, and that's really, it's about the driver, how they got set up. I mean, they could be one tooth off on their gear, and that might cost them a position or two. It is that close a racing. And the tech that CKNA provides, at the end of the day, you see that all the winners earn that win. Nobody was playing around. There's a thorough tech here. There's a pre-tech. There's an after-tech. I mean, Briggs & Stratton, CKNA teamed up. The tires are spec. I mean, this is the best spec racing you will see, and it's going to be the closest racing you're going to see.
Oh, it's going to be just crazy. It's like, we got three more days of this. We've been here a couple of days already. We got 3 more days of this, and it's going to be so exciting.
Right. So everybody runs the same engine. Everybody runs the same fuel. Everything is checked right down to the spark plug. Right down to the spark plug. So it's all about setup, driver, getting everything right in order to win here, especially at a Grand National. We have 9 classes. Kid karts, 5 to 8 years old. Cadet, 8 to 10 years old. Sportsman, 10 to 13 years old. Juniors, 12 to 15. Then you get into the senior classes. Senior light, 15 and up. Senior medium, 15 and up. Senior heavy, 15 and up. And then we took care of our seasoned racers, the masters. You got to be 35 and older or above to get into that class. And then, of course, we have the legends. The legends. These are the legends of karting. And there is some legends here today that I know of from 30 years ago. And it's so good to see them out there racing. And we got one of the big legends. He's big in the North Series. Ryan Cassidy, can he do it here this weekend? But he's going to be up against some really tough competition. And they have to be 50 years and older. And I heard we have somebody in their 70s racing that class. So great to see these people turning out. Like I said, something like 26 kid karts and something like somebody over 70 years old racing the Legends class. It is going to be a great weekend.
Yeah, speaking of Ryan Cassidy, it's always a pleasure to watch him at work, and this truly is. He races every single weekend. I was talking to a couple of drivers a couple of nights ago, and they said they went to whatever track, and I think Ryan is from somewhere around Illinois or somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, they go to their track, and they say, every single time I'm there, Ryan Cassidy is over there practicing. If he's not racing somewhere in the country, he's practicing. So, yeah, Ryan Cassidy is always at work, and his dad is probably the best tuner, and it's just like,
and a great guy. I mean, they're great people to talk to, and like I said, they're here, and they're going to do their best to become another Grand National champion. He's been a champion many times,
yes,
but this was the big one here today, and this weekend, I should say, and it will be unbelievable. We're seeing people on the grid now as you look, and this grid gets pretty filled up when you get to the classes that have over 100 in them. And it gets a little hectic up there, but CKNA's got that pretty much under control. And what we do look at every one of these races, how can we make it better? And you heard Greg at the drivers meeting, the owner of CKNA, he told the people, hey, listen, send me what you got. I mean, complaints or whatever, we'll look at it and we'll see what we can do. How can we make it better? And CKN themselves see things that are happening and say, hey, next year we're going to change it. We're going to do this or we're going to do that. So constantly trying to make this a better series. But when you get 600 and something entries, you're starting some new stuff here that you have to just try to figure out on the spot.
And another thing about CKNA, we're just meticulous about the time. We've got every group that goes out on the track for any reason, there's a specific time they can go out, and we're right to the second on that. Our grid people are fantastic. No, they think this is the second junior group going out right now, the second half. And we've got group split. Some of these classes are so big. This junior group, for instance, in the morning session only is split in groups A and B. Later on, we'll have split three ways. We've got senior medium is three splits, and junior is going to be 3 splits in qualifying, whatever. So, and that's to give more track time, more track space to everybody to get a good lap. So, yeah, look at these. Some of these classes are, over 100 entries?
Yeah, over 100 entries, and that's why CKNA had to do what they had to do. They realized not long before this race that, hey, we're going to have to bring in the lights.
By the way, we're at Newcastle Motorsports Park in Newcastle, Indiana, or Spiceland, Indiana.
Yep. And this is the 8th year that CKNA has held their race here, and this is Grand Nationals 8.
The Grand National Championships. It's one of those races that is just known as the Grands.
Yeah.
And everybody knows immediately
as
what
the
you're
Grands.
talking about.
Right.
Yeah, the Grands.
We don't call it total the Grand. It is the Grand National, but we call it Grands 8.
Yep.
And we have, it's just going to be so much racing here today. And talking about CKNA and its history starting back when, Dave, when?
Oh, my God.
Because you've been around.
I think it's our 10th or 11th year.
Okay.
It's only 8 years we've had Grand National Championships here, but yeah, we a few years before that, so. And it used to be called something else.
Yes.
Well, I won't get into that.
But it was still pretty similar. Everybody knows who CKNA is, and it kind of reflects that North America, and that's the main point.
Yeah, and that was actually in the back of Greg's mind when he named him and Steve Vermeer. Yeah.
Right.
Steve Vermeer is on site, by the way.
Steve Vermeer's here. He's
one of the
consulting.
original
He's
owners.
helping.
Yes. Yeah, he's one of the. Steve and Greg were the very first owners, and Steve Vermeer has retired, but he came back this weekend to work the Grand. So we're very happy to have Steve. In fact, I'm sharing a room with him, so I'm really glad to have Steve around. But
we have a lot of people came back and have them helping and looking into things, and that's what it's all about. It's not just about the new things that are going on. We need that wisdom from the people that have been around saying, hey, I've seen this before, here's what you got to do in order to correct it or make it better. So all input, as Greg said. And the one thing, Greg, as you mentioned, did make it very clear to everybody at the drivers' meeting, we will not go ahead of the schedule.
Right.
You stick to that schedule. Yep. If something happens, we tell you it's 10 minutes late, or like yesterday, we had a problem. We got that word out there. We're an hour behind. So if it says you go out at 1:45 in the afternoon, you're going out at 2:45.
And that's so unusual for us to change a schedule. But we did.
But there's things that happen, and with this race this big, where we know there might be bumps in the road. But the one thing Greg said, you don't need to hear the announcement. You don't need to hear me and Dave yelling, get up to the grid. You will go out at your time on the
Well,
the
your class is going out, whether you're there or not. Yeah.
Right.
If you miss it, it's all on you because you know when you're supposed to be there.
So the schedule is strict, and even if we have 10 minutes that we're ahead of it, we'll wait till that next class goes out. So we will go out on time. I was on the grid a little bit yesterday, and sometimes people were coming up, and they still had like 20 minutes before they were going to go out. I'd say, you don't go out until 20 more minutes. You know, you got your helmet on, your suit on, you're sweating. You know, take it easy. You got time.
And
look at the schedule.
That's a good issue, Tony, is that even though this is the best facility in North America that I have ever been to, I'm sure it's the best facility in all of North America, it is congested.
Yeah.
625 or 630 carts or whatever. It is very, very congested. And it's a traffic jam down there at the head of the hot grid.
I'm noticing coming off at the scales.
Yeah.
It's
same thing.
It's very
and we've got 2 sets of scales, and still,
it's still hard to move this many carts at a quick rate, but we do get them through, and that's what people got to just have a little patience. I know some people. Yesterday they were charging the gate to get on the grid. I said, you're not even in the race yet, and they were just bunched up and trying to get a good grid spot. But next year we'll look into that, and we'll see if there's anything else that can make it better. And we did already move things and just saying how can we free this up. So CKNA is always looking at that and trying to do the best they can with the amount of entries that. And talking about entries, awards, and prizes, doesn't get any better.
Oh, we can give away so much cool stuff. And, of course, what's the crowd favorite? Always.
The cheese ball.
Barrel of cheese balls. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's so funny.
Don't give me a set of tires. Give me the cheese ball.
Well, and we give away, like, video game systems and electric bikes and, really high
50-inch TV.
Yeah, huge TVs and all kinds of stuff. And everybody wants those doggone cheese balls. It's just a huge joke. By the way, anybody that's just tuning in, we are actually in a warm-up session. Everybody gets a warm-up session. Well, half the crowd, because we're going to have an afternoon session too, but half of the people are half of the classes are in their warm-up session, so there's not actual racing right now. So this is as calm as it's going to get all weekend.
Yeah.
See people go off and hit each other, whatever. That's nothing compared to what's coming.
So again, CKNA trying to give these drivers, because it's such an important race for them, give them some warm-ups. The next warm-up was what we call happy hour, right, Dave?
Yep, you are correct.
Yeah, so the happy hour is where we really take their times and take a look at it so we can get them set up for when they go out for their time trial, for their RLV time trial. And we thank RLV for sponsoring that whole time trial through all the series, all the divisionals. We thank RLV for that. But that's what will happen, and we'll try to send them out so they don't bunch up. That's why we need their times during happy hour.
You know, one thing I noticed here, Tony, is real unusual. RLV Hot Lap Qualifying has always been 4 laps. We just don't have enough hours in the day to run 4 laps, so we shortened it to 3 laps today.
It's green, white, and checkered, I think.
Sounds
They
good.
were saying something like that. But, yes, they did shorten it. I mean, basically, let's face it, it's 1 lap you need.
Right. You're absolutely right, Tony. You don't have to be fast.
I've been at races where some people are so positive. I don't know how they know. Oh, I guess they know from their micron. They turn the good lap and they pull off.
Yeah, pull off. They don't. Brian Cassidy, case in point. He's real famous for that. Yeah, a number of people.
He says, I don't need to be out here and wearing out my equipment anymore. I'm ready. I think I got the fastest lap, and that's what he can.
There's a good shot of the pits now. Look at all these tents. There's just massive tents all over. And what these do, these like team owners have these tents erected. There's some local company in Indianapolis here that will come out and put these big tents up, and then they have all this. They are. They're big high-top circus tents, and they're all over out in the pits there. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, this facility is so large, and everybody loves coming here. All the biggest events are here, and we've maxed it out. Tony, we've maxed it out this year.
We maxed it out.
And I was talking to Mike, and he's got all kinds of ideas, Mike and Greg, for next year.
They have to
get bigger.
They have to, and that's the one thing. I mean, one thing about working with Mike here, whatever we need, Mike's there for us.
Absolutely.
And then he's already thinking about next year, and he'll, between him and Greg, they'll try to do their best to make it even better next year. We just saw a shot of the grid. You could see it was packed, but they changed over. This is one of the lights that will be on tonight. That's in turn 2, and and then the building behind is the building for their oval track, I believe.
Well, and we're using it for the scales.
Yeah,
right now.
Scales
and right as you come, so you come off the track on the far side of the building. We saw come off the track, go through the building, across the scales, and right after the scales, you come back outside the building is tech.
Right.
And of course,
now this is the scale line.
Well, that's what we're looking at right now. That's the scale line. Okay, that makes sense. It looks like you're getting off. Yeah, okay. So just like Tony was talking about, you can see how congested it is. Now, this is another issue. With so many karts on the track, you can't, even though they're all right up against each other, you have to be off the track before the next group.
Right.
People can go out.
We can't let the next group out. If there's any karts still hanging at the end there, we got to get them down in through the scales. So this is what it looks like when they're going through the scales. And of course, rules state that nobody can go near these drivers until after they get off the scales.
Which I mean, that
Except
makes perfect sense. Yeah, the officials can be out there, but no crew chief, no support people, no anything.
You just got to have patience, wait for your driver to get through the scales, and then that's it. Look at the line.
And the reason being, they got to get an accurate weight. They got to make sure they're legal.
You don't want somebody
animal water bottle. You can't, nothing like that. Yeah. And fortunately, it's cool enough this time of year. In the hot summer, you want water right away when you come out. But you can see a little bit of the pits there, and the pits are. Okay. So there's that building we were just talking about.
Yeah, that's the scale.
Yeah. So, and tech is.
Well, you can't see it. It is.
Oh, are we on the back looking on? Okay, I got it.
You really can't see it. I mean, it is sticking up because we know where it is, but it would be hard for the people at home to see tech. But tech is right alongside that building, and that's where people had to bring their karts all weekend to get them pre-tech.
Yep.
And that's for safety. But the bottom line is, every owner or driver of the kart is responsible to have a safe kart.
Yes.
They do fill out a tech sheet saying they checked everything and that it has to be safe. Yes, we do. CKNA does a pre-tech, what we call a pre-tech safety check. We advise them if we see something that maybe could be a little better, could be a little, or needs a carter pin or something. But it's their responsibility to make sure that kart is safe. If something, and we heard Keith at the drivers meeting. Keith Champagne from Kart Lounge is the race director of this race, and he told them about penalties. That if you drop a weight, that's a pretty big penalty.
Yeah, and it should be. That's huge.
It should be.
That's so dangerous. A 5-pound lead weight rolling around on the track or come up, hit somebody in the face shield or something, that could be just tragic. So, you're severely penalized for losing a weight.
And not only is it a safety factor, I mean, I know the insurance companies were saying, hey, you guys got to, we can't have weights falling off the carts. So it made sense, and we really tell drivers, make sure those weights. Also, loss of a wheel is a penalty. Depending on if you got in an accident, that's something different. But if that wheel just comes off because you forgot to tighten it or you didn't do something right with it, you're going to get penalized. So Keith talked to them at the drivers meeting, let them know those are certain safety things that no organization is going to tolerate. And to make it so you're really doing a double check of everything, because like I said, it's the driver responsible. Even though they went through pre-tech and they might have got their pre-tech sticker, they're still responsible to make sure everything is at its most safety possible. So now we're looking, I don't know what class.
We're right in between warm-ups. Warm-ups are over now, so we're waiting to start happy hour, which is 50 minutes after the hour, so about 5 more minutes.
It's going to be a while.
We're killing about 5 minutes here, And there's some of the property, and Mike's hoping to get the ambulance there. Mike's hoping to get some of that property for next year, but we'll see how that turns out. That's some of my business. But,
so
this is going to be Cadet Happy Hour.
Cadet Happy Hour.
So this is going to start getting important now. This is going to dictate your starting position in Hot Lap Qualifying, sponsored by RLV. And by the way, we had a few shots of kind of over by the scale house that used to be a real undesirable location. And a bunch of Canadians decided to go there many years ago. And the Canadians, they got more and more and more Canadians. Now, like Tony said, they're up over, I believe, over 100 Canadians. But it's a hugely desirable place to go now. Everybody wants to go there. I think most of the New Zealanders are over in that, and I call it Little Canada. I have forever.
It's Little Canada.
Yeah. And so they're all over there, and they all like to stay together, and that's fine and dandy. But we always get a huge kick out of all the Canadians and Little Canada and the whole population over there. And they are pretty elaborate with their setups and their whatever. They're a lot of fun.
All right, so this is the Cadet class. As I was telling people in the past, few minutes back, 8 to 10 years old. And you can see these are young drivers, 8 to 10 years old. We thank Lawson Speed Shop for sponsoring this cadet class. We thank Lawson Speed Shop. Lawson is here with a full set of stuff. He's not just renting out motors or selling motors. I see he's got a full setup over there, so if anybody needs anything, you can check him out. He's right alongside the grid, actually. He's pretty much right alongside the grid. You'll see him at the top of the grid with his setup. But we thank Lawson Speed Shop for sponsoring this cadet class. Now, I believe, is his son in this cadet class?
I believe he is, yeah. And speaking of Gary Lawson, I had somebody come up to me, and I'm wearing an official's shirt, and something new they could ask me. And they said, I need this part. I broke this part. I need this part. Where can I get one? And I'm starting to think, well, Briggs isn't here yet. Yeah, whatever. It was the engine part. And I'm walking through the pits with them, and I realized I saw Carrie Lawson, Gary's wife, sitting over there.
Yes.
And I walked over and they said, he needs so and such a part. Oh yeah, I got it right here front and center on the table. So good on you, Gary. Gary, you both did a wonderful job, and you do have the parts people need. Yeah.
See on that number 10, you'll see his Lawson sticker.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, let's see. Here. I'm not sure who the number in the cadet is.
Yeah, we should get them.
Yeah. But it looks like Dad's giving tuner's giving last instructions or something. Yeah, maybe a young lady, I'm guessing, by the pink helmet, but you don't know for sure. And we've got an awful lot of ladies racing. Yes. It's getting to be more and more every year, which is very nice.
Very good. So, we're getting ready for the cadets to go out what we call their happy hour.
Happy hour, yep.
And this will allow them to get where they're going to get gridded up before they go out for their RLV time trials.
No, there's different brands of chassis if you're not familiar with it. This particular one is a Coyote, and it's sponsored by Precision Performance Karting, which is John Seglin, from Florida. And John, I hope everything came out okay for you with the hurricane and whatever. He was right in the middle of that, but hopefully it came out. But there's Coyote, and you can see you get a little tire rub every once in a while.
Well, rubbing's racing, that's what they say. And I used to have a friend that we would, if we went to a track we'd never been before, he'd walk around and he'd look for the guy that had, or the driver that had the most rubber on his car. And he says, that's the one I'm going to follow to see how you get around this track.
There's a Nitro Kart there. That's a different brand name.
Yep, and that's a lefty engine.
It sure is. Look at there.
Yeah, the engine is not on what I'm going to say, what the usual side that we see it. It is on the left side, as we call it. It's a lefty.
And some
see
people
the difference
prefer that.
here. The engine's on the right side. Thank you, there.
There's a Marinello, and that's a Howard Stewart engine. He always paints his engine covers white, so you can pick his engines out right away. Howard is on site, has been here for a few days, and
Greg mentioned that. Yeah,
he's from North Carolina, like Mooresville or something.
I think so.
Right around that area. So he's got a NASCAR background too.
Amazing how many sponsors we have here today. What was it, 32?
Greg started reading them off, and he kept going.
But he said the ones that are actually here.
Oh, on site,
on site, not just that they put their stickers out there and they sponsor a class. They're actually here.
There's one of our Canadians there. I can see the little Canadian flag.
Okay.
Donato.
Donato. He's one of their champions.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's a Burrell, isn't it, up front?
Well, Red Speed. No, that's what do you call it? It's the Tony Kart.
Oh, okay. And then that was let's see. There's a good. Okay, Anthony Di Donato. I guess. Yeah,
you know him.
Yeah. So there's a real good close up. Can't see him inside there.
Now, the one thing I've been telling drivers, it's not a rule, it's not mandatory, but when those lights come on, you should have a clear or probably an amber shield. So if you don't have it, go get one. Because
every year I run into somebody and says, "Oh, I forgot it at home. I didn't realize I needed it." Blah blah blah.
So I've been warning them since yesterday. I'm saying, look, it's not a rule. I can't tell you can't use your dark shield, but you might want to think about a clear or an amber shield for the nighttime driving. It just makes it so much easier. I know young people got good vision. I'm sure the Legends and Masters got their clear and amber shields. Because it does get tough with the lights.
You got a shot a minute ago of Dr. Todd Barron's pit there, and Jeff Hudlett at Mach 1.
And we thank Dr. Todd Barron. We wouldn't be up here.
He's a heavy sponsor, yes, and a real good guy.
Yep. He's the guy that got all of these nationals televised. So
and Tony, you have some involvement with somebody on the track. Could you tell us about that?
Well, of course, I got my step-grandson running, Hudson Brown. And he's been really doing good. He's actually starting to enter into two-cycle as well. But he's here for definitely for the Grand National. He's the two-time East champion right now. And, of course, he's on his dad's engines. Snap your neck.
Snap your neck, Chris Cirillo.
Chris Cirillo.
And he's got a relatively new chassis that he's
and they're bringing in a chassis that we haven't seen before in the four-cycle ranks. the gold chassis. And for Hudson, it's been well. It's been doing well. So we'll see what happens by the end of this weekend. But always rooting for the family, and they give me the ride here, so that's good.
That's good. Yeah. And that's an Italian chassis, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep,
right?
made in Italy.
Made in
gold
Italy.
chassis.
And who's the importer?
That is Rodolfo Righetti.
Okay.
I believe. Oh, the importer is Spa Speed.
Okay.
Spa Speed is the
okay.
importer to the United States. Spa Speed. George is the guy that kind of owns that, and he's up in Massachusetts. I
Okay.
believe.
And Hudson is making that look good.
Yeah, Hudson's been doing well. Like I said, he's a two-time champion now on the East Series with the gold kart. And he's put it in the two-cycle ranks as well. And done pretty well with it. So we'll see what happens in 2025.
And if you're at home and interested in getting into karting and you have no idea what chassis to get, everybody always says, go to your local, whatever your local track is. It might be 100 miles away or whatever. Go to your local track. Find out what everybody else is using, because you're going to need their support.
Right.
You're going to need their input and their help. So.
And, in this type of racing, especially locally, you can go with a used chassis. I mean, hopefully, somebody's not sending you a bent-up chassis, but pretty much people are pretty good with that. And a used chassis is fine to start racing with. The engine is the Briggs & Stratton, and it's just, it lasts. If you take care of it, change the oil and stuff, you take care of it, you can go from juniors into seniors with it. That's the other advantage of the 206. I mean, nothing changes, basically. I mean, there's a few things that change. I don't want to get into the whole technical thing, but basically the investment in that engine could move up to every class.
Yeah, it should last you the rest of your life, or a good part of it anyway.
Yeah, no, they can last for years. And the only time Briggs has changed things is when those seals became outdated.
Yep.
And then they said, hey, starting in such and, but they give you time to phase into it. But the rules have remained the same for many years, and that's so important. Because if the rules change all the time, you're out there and spending more money investing in whatever the new rule is that you have to comply to. Sometimes we don't have a choice. Things change so much, manufacturing or even legal stuff, that a change has to be made. But Briggs has had a tight lid on these rules, and that's what makes this racing so close. Again, I'll say it's probably the best spec racing that you will ever see in karting.
Yeah, or in any kind of motorsport.
Or in any kind of motorsport.
I'll put it up against any big cars, anything, yeah.
Yeah, and what some new people, what they got to understand, this is a true motorsport. It's not, it's a hobby to people, but it is a true motorsport. And if you look now at most of your famous race car drivers, they were all karters.
Well, here's the proof, Tony. If you're really, really, really good at home, come here and race against these people and see how good you are.
Well, that's one of the things I'm telling some of the people that say, oh, I know this one's good here because I raced against them. I said, yeah, but do you think somebody traveled from California or New Zealand and they're not that good?
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
You got to.
You don't come here for just a fun weekend.
You got to figure this is going to be a game changer here, and we'll see. Hopefully, I want to see a lot of the CKNA divisional people take the wins here, but we could see a lot of other people come up to that podium, and it'll be interesting what happens here. Conditions, the thing that's going to throw people off maybe a little, not the seasoned guys, believe me, the seasoned guys got everything covered because they raced under every condition, rain, everything, nighttime, everything. But when we go to night, it's going to change.
Oh,
things
absolutely.
are going to change. And the people that know how to make those adjustments, which are going to be your top people, that's where you're going to see things change a lot. I mean, and some people maybe fade way off, but other people, just the same people that are fast, stay fast. And you'll hear people say, well, the track slowed down. But look at the fast people. They're still fast. So it'll be interesting with this, AM, PM challenge. It is going to change things. And until it happens, I don't know. I mean, I'm hearing the temperature's supposed to get up to 80 today.
And
is that
it's
possible?
supposed to be cold Saturday night, Sunday morning.
You see?
And the grand finals are Sunday, 15 laps long.
Yeah.
That track is going to change dramatically every time
And
somebody
they have
goes
to
out.
use the same tires.
Yeah, the same tires. Yes, absolutely, Tony. Yeah, it's a Spec tire, and it's the same tire.
Yeah. Now, last year, we did not have a problem with tires. And even though I was saying, wow, that's a lot of laps you're putting on those tires, but according to some people, there was a lot of rubber down from the race the week before, the Mojos or something.
The Robopon. Yeah.
Well, but I mean the tires that put down the rubber. This was last year.
Last year.
This
okay.
year, maybe because of the rain and stuff, it might not be exactly the same. But I believe the tires, the Vega tires, and that's somebody else you got to thank, Vega.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And Todd is not here. Todd Spouty, TS Racing, but
he couldn't make it.
his other people here.
Yeah.
Brett
Okay.
is here, his son,
Yes.
who runs Bushnell Motorsports Park.
And runs the Southern Series.
And runs the Southern Series, yeah.
So,
Todd
no,
always
I mean,
doing
you see the
our
Vega
Brett.
banners all around.
Yep.
Vega has worked with CKNA from day one, I'm going to say.
These tires were designed down, I think it was at Bushnell, where
Yeah.
Steve Gregg and I think Gary went down there,
Yep.
and they tested and tested and tested until their hands were bloody.
Yeah.
And they finally came up with this perfect compound, and that's what we've used ever since. CKNA and all the other racing organizations are starting to copy us. I'm not sure what something they're having there, yeah. But yeah, so a lot of other racing organizations are using the very same tires. They're not exclusive to us, CKNA, but CKNA did develop them.
Yeah, the red tire the Vega Red has become a lot of local tracks are definitely switching to that. And what I tell the local tracks in our area is just stick with the CKNA rules so your drivers can go. They don't have to spend that extra money or whatever. They're already set. And I try to do that with anybody or starting a new 206 class. I can't tell you, force you to do it, but follow the CKNA rules. It'll just make your driver that if that driver wants to travel someplace, they know they have the right equipment.
Yep. They're already set up properly. I mean, they got to make their changes, But
their
yeah,
investment
they have
is good.
The investment. There you go.
So that's the other thing that the Spec Racing has brought to the karting world, and we'll see how that turns out. So right now we just had the cadet class, and the officials now have their times, and we'll start do we have more than one cadet or just?
Nope, just one cadet.
Cadet, okay.
Senior medium, the next group will be split into
big.
A and B. Masters will be all by themselves, kid karts all by themselves, and then juniors will be split A and B.
Okay, so senior medium's up next, and we thank Steele Motorsports.
Oh, Mark
Steele.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and he's got a pretty good team here. Don't count his drivers out.
Does he have 30? Did he tell me
Did
30
he have 30?
or 31? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Somebody's got 30 or 31 carts,
Yeah.
in different teams. Yeah, Mark is always good.
Yeah.
I always like watching Mark and talking to him at races and whatever.
And I see somebody from our area there, and that.
Yep. That's Maryland, if I'm not
Atwood.
mistaken, right?
Yeah, he's got the
okay.
Maryland flag colors,
Yeah.
and that's Atwood. And he's
Now,
one
what's he
of our
doing there,
top-
Tony? Why is he
I think he's not warming up his tires.
Yeah.
I think he's checking the chassis flex.
Okay.
He wants to see how that chassis flex, and maybe because it's cold. I don't know. I've never seen that before, but he's definitely maybe feeling his steering, making sure it's right, nothing binding. But he's checking that. Atwood is one of our East top racers, so we're happy that he made it here, and hopefully he can bring us home a Grand National champion, maybe. But he's all ready to go.
Look at some of these helmets on
Yes.
pit road. Look at
Oh,
some of these people pour so much money into these helmets. First of all, the helmet itself is what, $1,000 for a good helmet now? And then they put a $2,000 or $3,000 paint job on top of it.
Never mind that you get a good pry on the engine and chassis. You got to
Yeah.
get the helmet.
You got to look cool.
You got to look cool. But they come up with some good designs. I mean, really great. I mean, the whole outfit. I mean, look, this driver very well dressed and everything. Sure. And that's what the CIK bodywork also did for karting. It kind of made everything the same, and people know now what a kart is, and even a little bit of a Formula One look, And so this is Bryce Frank Racing. And this is
Senior medium group
Senior
A.
medium. And
Alpha.
this is a very highly competitive class.
Yeah.
So be prepared for some really good racing out of this class. This is one of the top classes that a lot of people will be drawn to the fences to watch.
Caleb Gaffara there, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Gaffara came in. He's driving for MGM. And we want to thank Paul Rice. He also brings, I think Paul Rice has about 60 entries and about 42 karts here.
Wow.
Some of his people are racing.
Yeah,
Paul
and
and
Axel the Doberman.
And you gotta give credit to the American companies, Coyote and MGM. They have really stuck by the four-cycle people. They've given them a chassis that can compete against any other chassis. So it's great to see that you don't have to always buy that foreign chassis. There are American-made chassis, and the makers of those chassis are here.
Well,
Paul Rice is here with April, and Jim Lipari's here with Coyote.
Yep, Jim.
So you got any questions, you want to know about the chassis, you got the people here that make them.
Yep.
So that's the other thing we thank them for supporting this four-cycle racing and building a chassis that's capable of running with any other chassis on the track. And like I said, the numbers, I don't have the numbers of Coyote, but there's a lot of Coyotes here. And Paul Rice, like I said, has about 60 entries, but I think 42 or 45 karts. You know, this is not definite, but around 40 karts here with running MGN. So that is a lot for that type of car, you know, that manufacturer. So right now, like you said, we got the medium people out there. This is only the first group.
This is half of the medium.
Half of them, yeah. So we'll see what their times are. And I'm seeing some. Look, Christopher McKeithen's out there.
Oh, there's a name. There's a name.
Nick Sobiak, there he is.
Wicked Nick, yeah.
Wicked Nick is out there.
Austin Olds
is out there. I'll tell you, this guy Ben Jones has been good in our series. Hudson Brown, of course, I got to say, he's our two-time champion. He's out there. Paulie Massimino, a veteran racing, and he's out there. Josh Stiefel, also a great guy for Coyote. He got injured last year, couldn't race, came back this year, and he's at the top of his game. So Dylan Munson out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking names that we've been calling, Dave, all season long.
Sure.
And it could be any one of these drivers. Colin Warren, man, this guy is, some people call him Mr. Spock. They call him the professor. This guy thinks everything out before and while he's out there, he's calibrating what he's got to do. Owen Lloyd, this is the Iron Man. Owen Lloyd will run every class. He's in every.
Yes. Chase Jones there on the top of your screen right now. He actually ran here last week in the Robopong race.
Okay.
And he ran it alone. It's about a 4.5-hour race.
Yes.
I mean, it's just
he ran it
exhausting.
alone. Paulie Massimino, though, ran it too, but he ran it with
a teammate. Yeah,
I think was it McKeithen that ran
I think it was, yeah. And so a number of people raced up here last weekend. And there's rubber on the track from last weekend yet. There's a lot of rubber out there.
I don't know if they had any rain in between.
I don't believe so.
So, we'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, I believe the tires are not a problem. They're going to hold up.
That's what I was going to say earlier. So last year when I was doing the post-race interview with a bunch of the drivers, the winners, I asked a bunch of them through most of the day, how's your tires holding up? And 100% of them said just fine, no problem at all.
So we're not going to bring up tires anymore.
No, well, I mean, I already have my answer. They're that good.
Yeah, no, Vega's done a great job here and allowing these drivers, these tires will hold up. But again, trying to cut down on the cost. Once you qualify, that's the tire you have to run for the whole weekend. So you can't, unless you get a flat or get in an accident, the tech people have to be brought in.
You get an exception,
and you can change. But that's it. The tires you qualify with, they get scanned. And that's it. Same thing with rain tires for a national. Your rain tires get scanned. Those are the tires you have to run if it starts to rain. On the divisional level, we don't scan the rain tires because a lot of times in the divisional level also we'll say it's driver choice because the rain is on and off or whatever. But usually if the track's wet, you got to go out with rain tires. So we got some great drivers in this one. And this is only the first half.
Yeah, first half.
And the officials are getting the times and they'll start posting where they're going to start for the RLV time trials. But like I'm saying, I can identify in this group alone 5 or 6 names that any one of them could be a Grand National champion.
Like that one right there, 021. What's that? I always love picking on Tony. He's such a homer, and that's his grandson.
And I don't know if you look at Hudson's helmet, man. There's another great paint job.
No, I didn't even pay attention. I'll have to look at it.
Well, he was using a white helmet last year, but I guess that got old hat.
Okay. What brand helmet does he use? Do you know, Tony? Yeah, there he goes for a pass. No, this really doesn't mean a whole lot.
No. Out there trying to get time. But you can see his helmet. He's got a whole different helmet than last year. Last year was easy with the white helmet because hardly any people run a plain white helmet anymore. Now I've got trouble pinning them out, But, yeah, he's got a really nice helmet. I'm not sure what brand he runs.
Okay.
Maybe a Rye. I'm not sure.
They're real popular with karters.
I'm not sure. I didn't really look at it. But it is definitely one of the popular ones.
And there's a pond over there, and every once in a while somebody goes off the track and splash right into the water.
Now you see the straightaway. You see drivers ducking down, putting their heads down. They're trying to get down even with that front fairing there, so to try to get the wind over them. It does help a little bit. On a straightaway like here today, this is a very long straightaway, and it will help probably a little bit. And you see Hudson now, he's getting down. He's trying to get down even on the short stuff. He's doing a pretty good job out there. Let's hope that he can continue this all through this whole weekend But he is definitely one of my favorites out there that has done well. And he's right now, what I'm seeing, he's doing a real good job out there. But so are a lot of other drivers. I do not have their times, so I can't tell you who's doing what. But we'll see it when they qualify for the RLV Fast Time Award, and that'll give them their starting position in their first heat race.
Yeah, and there must be, I guess, I don't know, close to 50 out there right now, I'm going to guess, maybe?
Yeah, I'm not sure how they split it up.
It's got to be one of the bigger classes,
yes.
Senior Medium, I'm sure. And I don't have a total entry list in front of me, so I'm not sure, but with 9 classes and 600, close to 650 entries, 625 for sure. That's close to 100 in each class.
Yeah. So when Dave and I say senior medium, and for the people at home or people who don't know it, have to tune in, hopefully, and you're watching this, medium is the weight. So now every driver, when they come off, have to sit in their cart, get a total weight. We go by total weight.
And it's a minimum. They have to weigh a minimum amount.
And that's it. So for medium, they got to be 365 pounds total.
Total. The cart,
total.
the fuel, the driver,
right.
the helmet,
that's
everything.
It.
And drivers are very superstitious.
Yes.
They want to be half a pound or a quarter of a pound over that minimum weight. Well, when they come off the track, now they burn fuel.
Yes.
So they got to account for that. So yeah.
So that's another thing that drivers have to account for or set up for.
Cincinnati Kid.
Yeah, and I like that helmet.
Yeah,
I like
too.
that. It reminds me of something Roman or something.
Yes. James Overbeck. He's from Cincinnati, and I am just such a fan. Yeah, and he won last weekend.
Yeah.
The Robopong.
Oh, so then maybe was he Massimino?
Yeah, it was.
It was Overbeck.
It was James Overbeck.
Yeah, that's right. It was Overbeck and Massimino, so he did win last year. So there's a white helmet.
Yeah. Look at how unusual.
But, so when we say medium, that is the weight. The age limit is 15 and up for senior medium, but the weight is 365 pounds. And as Dave said, these drivers want to come off the racetrack and get on that scale. They want to be 366 maybe.
Yeah.
But they also got to account, depending on the temperature. If it's really hot, they know they're going to sweat a lot. They sometimes go they want to be 5 pounds when they start over, and hopefully they come in at the right weight. If they're 364 pounds, they get DQ'd.
Yep.
For that heat, and then which means they'll start at the back of the pack in the next one. If it's the feature and it's over, they will get DQ'd. They have to be at 365 pounds or more.
And if they're light, what's the first thing they always say, Tony?
Yeah,
your scales are wrong.
Right, your scales are off.
No,
so
they're not.
Yes, no. But we do give them a rescaling. We reset the scales for them. We clear the scales and we bring them back on. We give them every opportunity. Yeah. Just in case. I mean, something could happen sometimes. The scales not that they get off, depending on how they get on the scale, something moves. So we give them that opportunity. We don't, if somebody's light, we don't say, hey, you're out, roll your cart off, come back, and we're going to give you one more shot on the scale. So we try our best to keep everybody in the race. But these drivers, I mean, I don't know of anybody that got DQ'd for weight.
I don't.
I mean, you're talking about the best people in North America.
You can see some of them weights on
there they are. Yeah, you see the weights on the cart.
It's just a lead puck. And there's very specific bolt and washers and whatever that you have to have
double-nutted or cardipin.
Yep.
That's the part that we're saying that you cannot lose a weight out there. If you do, you're going to get heavy penalty, and it's going to cost you the race. I mean, that it's over. So,
you can see a neck brace on her. Everybody's required to have a neck brace in Cup carts.
CKNA requires neck braces. Some organizations are doing away with it. I don't know why.
I don't either.
They've been doing away with it, so it might be something to look at. I think the design of helmets have changed, and that's what maybe you can go if you want without it. Not in our series, but that might have years ago when we were tracking accidents. A lot of accidents were broken collarbones. And then we found it was the helmet coming down and breaking the collarbone. Okay. That's what initiated the neck brace to keep that from happening.
So here they come on out on the track?
Okay. Yeah, they're coming out on the track, and we're going to take a short break for a commercial.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200?
I'm tired of all this branding business, okay? Branding this, branding that. Why are there all these expenses on AKR over $200? We know, okay? Take a walk with me. At Shop AKR, they have everything you need to start racing at a very cheap and affordable price. They have MXC rims, they got chains, electrical stands, tilt seats. They got MXCs, and if you didn't know, on top of that, any purchase in the continental U.S. over $200, that's free shipping.
Hey, aren't you supposed to be in the AKR Anonymous meeting over there?
Dude, I'm doing a commercial.
Dude, we have no time. It's about to start.
Stop. We all love Shop AKR. Me? More than others. What do I get at Shop AKR?
MXC rims.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today. Parallel USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parallel Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParalleLUSA.com.
So once again, as a senior medium, we're in happy hour right now. Happy hour for half of the total classes. Senior medium is out there right now, and they're split into two groups, Group A and Group B, and I'm pretty sure that's Mr. Overbeck up right there, James Overbeck, number 48. Yes, it is. So senior medium is out right now. Next up will be, the two senior medium classes, then the masters, then the kid karts, then two junior classes. So we're only having half of the entire entry list racing this morning, or happy hour and qualifying in the heat race, and then we'll have the second half later on this afternoon. So we've got we had a drivers meeting this morning for this group, the first half, and we'll have another drivers meeting at 3:10 p.m. local time for the evening group, and the evening group will race under the lights this evening. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, Dave, this is, like I said, this is going to be an event of the all events, and definitely something we have never done before with the PM, AM sessions. And you can just see how tight these people, this is just the happy hour, like you're saying. And this is where they're just getting their times for their starting positions. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at some of the times. I can see them. They're unofficial, of course, by what I'm seeing. But we're seeing people like Overbeck. And here's a seasoned racer, two-cycle racer, Brandon Jossicrat. He's up there. He's running good. Cale Zimmerman, one of the champions, right?
Yep.
Cale's definitely somebody that I identified that said, hey, this person could do it. Addison Iannello doing very good out there. So we're seeing some good times being turned by these people. And I'm seeing a long-time veteran back from years ago, and he's no youngster, but he's out there with the young people. Number 92, Scott Clayman, he's up into the top 10, and he's doing a good job out there. I got to give Clayman credit. He's definitely, him and Cassidy raced together for years, and he's out there with the young guys.
And
young drivers.
I think his son is racing here this weekend
yes,
too.
Yeah, first time his son is, but not, his run locally, I guess, but it's the first time that his son has raced at this
Grants,
at a big race. Yes, so it's good to see Scott's got his child in there racing. So we're going to see a lot of different things going on. It's going to be interesting on how this thing will end up on Sunday.
Yeah, this is that's a very valid point. These aren't points or anything. You're just working your way up to the main event, the feature event, the 15-lapper. And this track is a little over a mile long. I'm not sure the exact length, but it's a little over a mile long. So that's going to be a 15-mile-plus race for everybody. And a lot of corners. I think, I don't know how many corners we have, like.
It was like 17.
17 or something? Okay, yeah, it sounds about right, yeah.
I might have it here.
So, yeah, it's a large track, over a mile and 17 corners. And
Can you see?
you see. 19. Looks like 19.
19.
Yep. So that's a lot of corners.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave and I will get it together here.
Oh,
We're getting the ingredients here that we need to tell people what's going on. We just realized there's 19 corners on the track. And the other thing CKNA does is they change the track.
Yep.
So it's not we're on the same track. I mean, but it's a different configuration. That's
right. Any good track anywhere in the country or any country has the ability to make changes to the track. There's little cut throughs and whatever, and you can change the actual total configuration of the track. Use some corners and some straightaways use in every configuration, but Newcastle, of course, is a world-class facility, and they're able to do that.
Right. Which allows us to give everybody a fair shot, as we say, because people might have raced here and know, especially last year. But so this year the track is a little different.
And that information isn't released till about a week before the event. So
and CK also has a rule that says you cannot practice starting the Monday before the weekend of the race. So we ask the tracks to stick to that, and they do.
They're very good about that.
They're very good about that. They will not allow any 206 drivers to be on the track just about a week prior to the race.
And every once in a while we'll show up, like here we showed up on Tuesday. We had to start setting up for everything, and we'll be here a week. But every once in a while you'll see at some other tracks, not Grands obviously because everybody follows really closely, but some other tracks, and you'll see some people out there, practicing or rentals or whatever. And I always check and make sure that none of them are entered in our race the following weekend, because if they are, that's a huge no-no.
So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I'm looking, and it looks like in that group, Cale Zimmerman was your fastest.
And Cale that's no surprise at all.
No. I pinned him as one of the top people that could win this Grand National Championship. But, hey, a lot of things could change by Sunday.
And that Cale Zimmerman, I have watched him race. He's raced with us for so many years, and he used to be just a little guy, just a little kid. Now he's every bit of 6'2". I don't know. He's huge. And he's still just the nicest guy. His whole family, Cale and Grant and, everybody, Mom, Gary, everybody, they're just fantastic in that whole family. And I always like seeing them. There's a good name there, McIntyre.
I was going to say, Dave.
One of my Canadians, of course.
Oh, yeah?
I guess my family is originally from Canada or something like that. So there's a Gary Lawson engineer. Gary likes to mark his engines with his sticker on there, so everybody knows that white engine is a Howard Stewart, and he's got a big S on it. Oh, it's Skitchy Barnes.
Oh,
I didn't realize it's Skitchy. He's from Bermuda. So, Skitchy decided to come race 4-strokes for a change. And Skitchy, he's anybody who's anything in the world of karting knows Skitchy. He races all the big events, all the Grand Prix, all that kind of stuff. So, Skitchy Barnes all the way from Bermuda. And he's got his buddy Jason Scuzzy North racing this weekend too with him. So, Skitchy and Scuzzy are both here from Bermuda. And I mean, just about any of the big entries. Can you think of anybody that's missing this weekend that you would expect to be here?
Well, yeah, we have our, I believe he was our sportsman champion. He couldn't make it. I'm trying to think. His last name is Fink. Wyatt Fink.
Wyatt, okay.
Well, Wyatt couldn't make it.
Oh,
and he's one of our top guys. He won just about everything he races. And so it would have been really great to see him compete with all of these drivers. But, just not everybody can make it.
Right.
Something could come up, anything. It's not the easiest thing for parents to get their kids here. And the one thing, like I said, I got to thank the parents, especially on the kid cards, to have 26 kid cards.
That's just amazing. I can't ever remember.
And it shows the commitment that the parents have for that. And that's really great.
There's facilities. good shot of the facilities.
So now this is Masters out there,
This is,
right?
yes, Masters.
And we thank CRG LSR Motorsports for sponsoring the Masters class. CRG LSR Motorsports.
And you know what that LSR stands for?
Yeah,
This
go
just
ahead.
cracks me up. Loose Screw Racing. It's another one of them Stacy guns.
Oh, it's one of
I don't know if she came up with it, but yeah, I'm going to give her credit for it. So Stacy Gunn, yeah. Stacy and JD Gunn, the coolest name in racing.
Yep, JD Gunn, and he's done well this year.
And
He's done
yeah.
well this year. They
Yeah.
got everything working pretty good, and Target distributing, you know.
Yeah,
and-
well, okay, so Stacy Gunn, obviously, and JD. Stacy works for Target Distributing, and Joe DeBover owns that. Stacy's
Yeah.
dad is Marshall Martin, and Joe DeBover owns Target Distributing, and basically almost any cart part that you buy from a retailer, Target Distributing was the wholesaler. So the whole world owes a huge debt of gratitude to Joe DeBover.
Yep, and they've been around. I mean, before Joe, I guess maybe his father. I'm not sure, but it's been around for got to be over 30 years, or maybe 40
Wow.
years. It
And-
might have had a different name at one time. It might have been Michigan Midget Motorsports, something to that effect.
Okay.
Maybe when it started. And you talk about things being around. Talk about comic card sales. I mean, right here.
Well,
where we
I
are.
was just going to say, yeah. Okay, so we are at a place called Newcastle, Indiana, and real close by is a town called Greenfield, Indiana. And the guy who owns Newcastle, the track rat, also owns Comic Card Sales. Well, Comic Card Sales, if you've ever bought anything over the internet, karting related, it probably came from Comic Card Sales.
And they've been around supporting karting for many, many years. And then Mark Dismore, but his father originally started the business out of the garage.
I didn't know.
Yes.
I was looking through the picture book there, and I saw Diz. He went
Well,
by
they called him Dismore,
yeah.
and he started it, working out of his garage, and then eventually built Comic Card Sales. And that's, we talked about having car parts. Comic Card Sales has a shop right here at the track. So
Oh, I did not know that.
if you,
Okay.
well, right there where Mike works.
Yeah.
The counter.
Oh,
there.
that's okay.
Yeah.
That,
So if you need anything, you go there, and if they don't have it, they'll get it here by the next day.
Yeah.
You know, because they'll tell their main Comic Card Sales in Greenfield.
It's only 18 miles away.
Yeah,
Yep.
send it down, and you'll have it. So another great thing about racing here at Newcastle, you got a card shop right on the facility, right under us.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're in the
I
championship.
hit the
It's
other
at the other
building.
building. I'm sorry.
And we're very fortunate. We're in the Champions Club, I think it's called, or something.
Yes.
But yeah, we're very fortunate. We got the bird's eye view here. And the sun is rising, so it's not my eyes anymore. Fortunately, I'm very happy about that. You got a couple of good shots of David Cole there from eKarting News, EKN.
Oh yeah, he's in it. He's in
DC.
it. So we call this, again, for the people at home, we call this the Masters class because you got to be 35 years and older, and you got to be at 390 pounds. We figured the
Older is usually heavier.
I don't want to
yeah.
say that, but we're allowing them to have a few more cheeseburgers if they want or whatever.
There
But
it
that's the weight, and then so we call it Masters. 35 years and up could race this class. So we try to keep you racing against your peers, basically. But you'll take somebody like a Scott Clayman. He's in with the young. He could probably, he definitely could run Masters, but he's in there with the younger people. We can't stop that either. It's 15 and up, so he can run.
Right, yeah, you could, you could definitely, the older people could run a younger class.
Right.
It's just like weight is a minimum, the age is a minimum also. So, yep. Some good, everybody's staying in line for the most part. Not too many people sliding off the track.
Well, people are trying to stay in the draft, and they don't want to get into accidents.
Well,
I don't
that's
blame
it.
them.
You don't want to wreck your cart. You break something on it or bend something, and
Yep.
we're very fortunate we have at least one chassis manufacturer on site. But you bend a cart, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
It's just not good news at all. And these are so specific. They got a solid rear axle. They don't have a differential at all. So the rear tires spin at the same rate.
Right.
When you're going around a corner, that's a very bad thing. It binds you up. If you ever try to push a cart on the ground, you can push in a straight line just fine. You turn that steering wheel and you're trying to push it, and it almost comes immobile.
Well, because the other wheel wants to spin the same speed as the
Yes,
outside.
exactly. So what you have to do in a cart, you have to flex the chassis and get one wheel off the ground. You can't see it, but there's almost no weight on the one rear wheel, so you can get around corners. Karting is tough. Karting is real tough.
So that's why it is good training for people coming up, wanting to be into motorsports, want to move up the ranks. Karting, and I remember a kart chaser at Trackhouse interviewed Kyle Larson.
Okay.
And Larson said he never really did karting, and he was sorry he didn't, because he was in a kart at that race. I think it was the Stars race.
Yeah.
And Xander did an interview with him, and he definitely recommends it, that people should, if you're moving up into the motorsports, you should definitely get in a kart.
I was going to say the traditional statement is everybody who's anything in motorsports started in karts.
Yeah, right
except
now.
Except for Kyle Larson.
Right, yeah, he might have did midget racing or I don't know. He might have did something else, but he admitted that he never, I guess, did road course kart racing.
Sure.
And he was kind of getting ready for Watkins Glen. So he went there and he drove a shifter kart, I believe, to get used to the road course. And he said it was a real workout.
and a lot of IndyCar drivers come here, on their off weekends or whatever.
Yeah.
They come here and practice and whatever. I know the great Ayrton Senna said it's the most fun he's ever had, the most purest form of motorsports.
Michael Schumacher said the same
karting,
thing.
yeah.
When he retired, they said, "What are you going to do?" He said, "I'm going to go karting."
Yeah.
Keeps you in shape. So we're seeing some. It's going to be a challenge. Ryan Cassidy's one of the top, you would say top picks for this. But we're seeing guys like Jamie Bradford, Sean Meyer out of Florida. He's a top Coyote driver. He's up there. Ryan Cassidy, of course, is up there. Chris Carroll.
Chris won last year.
Yeah, they called him the Coyote Kid at one point. But don't count out Mark Steele.
No,
Mark Steele's
definitely not.
We got a lot of people here. I'm surprised. Eric Fagan definitely going to be up there for MGM.
I saw him this morning.
Yep. He's definitely going to be up there. Dr. Todd Barron.
Dr. Todd.
He's a pick for the weekend. He's in the top 10. So we'll see what happens here.
Dr. Todd's another one from Mooresville, North Carolina, or right in that area, Charlotte area. Yeah.
Yes. And again, we thank him for sponsoring, helping getting Kart Chaser in here. And you got Tim Shutt. He's a guy that does tuning for. He tuned for McMurray's child.
Oh, okay.
He was here. Yep. And he does a lot of tuning with people, and he's actually racing himself. And he's going to be somebody you got to keep an eye on. He's right now. I'm saying he's in the top 10 in this Masters class. Timmy Tech, I think, is his
Timmy Tech,
his nickname there.
Is that DC? It's one of the E-car. Is it DC or
That's
Rob Howden? Is that
Rob Howden?
That is, okay.
I believe it is.
So e-karting news here. Kart Chaser, obviously we're broadcasting on Kart Chaser right now. We've been basically everybody who's anybody in karting is here this weekend.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. And I mentioned that to people, that you want to be around champions, you want to be around manufacturers, you want to be around some of the best in the business. They're all going to be there, and they are here. It is unbelievable the amount of people that we have, the amount of representation to the sport of karting that we have is just great. So what's up now, Dave?
Oh, looks like it might be Kid Karts.
Kid Karts.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, and we thank Max Torque
Okay.
for sponsoring Kid Karts.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Dozette, I see. Okay, yeah. So now the Kid Karts, they'll push them out. Well, it looks like they're starting on the grid.
Well,
during the race, they're going to push them out.
Okay.
Okay.
For the race. But Kid Karts, now the deal here is you got to be 5 to 8 years old.
5, 6, and 7, I believe.
Right. Well, you can if you're 8. If you're 8, you can move up to Cadet.
Yep.
But you could stay in Kid Kart one more
okay.
year. So it's 5 to 8. But a lot of 8-year-olds will go right into Cadet. They will. So it's like mainly 5 to 7-year-olds out there, and they got to be 200 pounds. So look at the difference.
Yeah.
We just said the Masters were 390.
And
They're
skinny
200.
little tires. If we see the tire, yeah.
Now
And pedal extenders, yeah.
You see the pedal extender.
The leg isn't quite long enough.
Right.
So yeah, so they're still growing fast too. By the way, they probably changed that extender a couple of times during a season.
Well, you saw the holes in it, so they can adjust
Yes.
it. They can adjust it. And,
there we go.
But they're all running the Briggs 206. They're running everything the same, except the slide in their carburetor allows a little less air and fuel, so they will. And they also have a different rev limit.
And spec gear and a couple of things.
And a
real
spec
skinny
gear.
tires.
Yeah.
Real
And
skinny.
what we call, they run 4 front tires.
Yep.
Because all the other drivers have the same size front tires, but their back tires are bigger. But in this class, they run all four are the same 450s, as we call them. All the wheels are 5-inch wheels. Kind of standardized on that. There is a 6-inch wheel made for karting, but this 4-cycle racing, everybody's on a 5-inch wheel. And the kart and the tires are Spec. So you have to run the 450s and I believe the 650s in the rear for most of the classes. This class runs 450s all around.
And these are, like I say, you know, like Tony was just saying, they're very, very young. 25, 26, 26.
I heard, I
entries,
think
maybe?
26
yeah.
entries.
We had 26 earlier, but Diesel Maxwell did not go out there, was not getting time earlier, and I'm not sure if he's out there right now. Diesel Maxwell out of AMAX Racing is just a hoot to watch. We were at Whiteland earlier, and he just put on the most monumental battle I've seen in a long time. He ended up coming home second, but he was not giving up for nothing. And usually these kids, you know, 5, 6, and 7, I always say this, Tony, you know that, but I always say 5, 6, and 7 years old, these kids, you go to Thanksgiving at Grandma's house, these kids can't walk down a hallway without bouncing off both walls. They just can't. It's not in
And
them.
look at them on the
And
track.
here they're racing open wheel race cars faster than you were allowed to go. You'd get a ticket if you were driving as fast as them on a city street. And they're just fantastic. They've got so much
really
talent.
Unbelievable. It's really unbelievable how these young kids have adapted and showed the skill that they do. And once again, thanking the parents for getting them here. 26 of them. And I'm saying some of them had to travel some far distances to get here.
And they're probably in school. You know, I mean, this is a, you know, kind of a hindrance for a lot of these people.
Yeah, it's a tough time.
But they want to go to Grands.
And it's a lot of days. Yep. So it's great. Just before, you saw a shot of the grid of how people charge the grid to get up on the grid to get ready for their RLV time trials.
Oh, it's so busy down there.
So it's a lot going on here. But look at these kids. They're bumper to bumper, side to side, and everybody's hanging in there, hanging on the track. Nobody's falling off. So. Of course, we're rooting for from the East Division, Spencer Height. He's our champion in this kid kart class. He's won a lot of races. He's also raced the Nationals. He's won at Charlotte, and he won at the Summer Nationals in Pittsburgh. So he's here looking to be a Grand National champion, and he's up there. He's definitely up in the top 3. But we got some other people here. But I haven't seen Diesel Maxwell.
And I
catch him out there.
I'm going to try to look him up on the.
I mean, he's registered.
Yeah, I know he's here because I talked to him.
Yeah.
And speaking of Spencer Height, his little brother Milo is just itching to get
on.
Oh,
Milo. Milo's he's ready to go.
And I think he's got a waves. I think he's got like a couple of years left.
No, but he's ready.
Yeah, he wants to run, yeah. He's a hoot.
So also Spencer Height on that new gold kart. He's racing the gold kart out there. And, of course, Snap Your Neck engine.
Once again, that's Chris Arillo, Tony's son.
So, we definitely rooting for Spencer because he's our East champion. But there's a lot of good drivers here. Grant Heckman, you got to watch out for him.
Oh, he's always
Tristan Ruth, Clyde Clayman is doing good. Clyde Clayman, that's we were talking about Scott Clayman there, and his son's up at least up into the top 5. I see Canadian. I think Bodie Beaver. Is that it? Bayer. He's doing good. So we got a lot of other people that could really put a challenge on here. I can't tell you who will win this one. Of course, like I said, rooting for Spencer Height. He's our East champion.
Number 66 out there, Kip Knaus is out there. Kip is new to us this year, and he's just having the time of his life.
Hey, we got a good picture with you and Chad Knaus and Kip. So happy to see that. I mean, we've had plenty of top NASCAR people, like you said, come to these races. Jamie McMurray had his son racing here. Kevin Harvick had his son racing here. Of course, they move up as they move up into other divisions. And now we have Kip Knaus. Kip Knaus is racing in this kid kart class.
And Kip, his first race ever, he decided to race Daytona International Speedway with us. And he ended up upside down, and I was just devastated. And he was just
But
fine.
he's back.
He's back.
He was at the Summer Nationals.
Yeah.
He was at the Summer Nationals. Diesel's out there, and he's getting times.
17th last I saw, yeah.
He's getting times.
So
Diesel's out there, but he's going to have to tune it up a little.
Yeah. He definitely has it in him, though.
Diesel.
They're gonna have to figure out something with the kart because Diesel is capable, without a doubt. And that is his name, by the way, which I think is so cool.
So, we'll see what happens in this RLV time trial. These people, this is what they call the happy hour. They're just getting their time so we can pace them when they go out for their RLV Fast Time Awards, and that'll give them their starting position in the first heat. So 26 drivers.
Yep.
They are out there. 26 kid karts And once again, we thank Max Torque. Now, the presenting sponsor is Zamp Helmets for this race.
Yep. You know what? And Zamp has been so wonderful to us for so many years. I've actually bought a number of Zamp helmets myself. They're very good helmet. They look fantastic.
Great price.
Really great price.
And distributed by Target.
Target, yeah. I got mine from TS Racing.
Well,
Vega tires,
right,
and
yeah.
I mean, we're pretty much all one big happy family.
Right. Well, like you said, Target
somehow.
distributes to most of your car shops.
So I bet you that track is warming up out there.
Yeah, Spencer Height in his gold Kart. You can tell by those colors. And like I said, he's right now at the top of his game.
Yeah.
So he's been fast all season long. He won the Spring Nationals, won the Summer Nationals. So he is definitely a favorite going into this race, as he could be a Grand National champion. He went home with some good hardware last night when he got yesterday when he got his awards for the E Series.
Sure.
So, and we're happy to see him here with his family, supporting the CKNA whole series here.
Kuiper Nelson out there in 7th place. Grant Heckman obviously in 2nd place, number 222. Okay. Yeah, Kip Cano's up to 22nd place. Diesel Maxwell up to 10th place. Look at Diesel's coming through the field. Kleeman, 6th fast so far. Luca DeMaria. I'm not sure if I know Luca DeMaria.
Well, we got a lot of visiting drivers here, Dave. That's what I'm saying. There's that element that I can't predict because I don't know some of these drivers, and they've traveled some great distances to be here. So I got to assume they're pretty good.
Well, like I say, I was talking to the New Zealanders, and they were telling me it took them a day and a half just to get here. So that's dedication. That's pretty cool.
Now, how'd they get their equipment here? Or there's somebody setting them up when you're here?
That's a good question. I never did ask them.
Yeah, we got to ask them.
I'm guessing they probably flew it. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, either that or they made arrangements with a local car shop or, one of the teams and said, could you have me a setup and I'll rent it. That's possible.
I asked them, is karting real popular? And they said, oh, yeah, it's getting very popular in New Zealand.
And
I know Australia, too. And the 206, yeah. 206 engine, Briggs & Stratton 206. And that stands for 206 cc's. That's what that 206 represents.
All right. We're going to go to commercial, and we'll be right back after the commercial.
Come on, babe.
Parallel USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parallel Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParallelinUSA.com.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're going to need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rib protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Car Class has done the hard work for you. We've traveled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Car Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit carclass.com to get your track information.
we're back.
Hey.
Welcome back, everybody, here in the paddock, watching on at home as well for the 8th edition of the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. My name is Caleb Vieska. I'll be trackside all weekend long. As always, the two voices of the Cup Karts North America, the East Division, and Dave Mack as well, all around. A pleasure to be up here with you, gentlemen, and happy Grands as well. Happy Grands, right? This is crazy, man. I roll up into the paddock yesterday, and you kind of look to your left, look to your right, and there's nowhere to fit another 10, another go-kart, another trailer. You know, it's still jam-packed here this weekend, fellas.
Yeah, it's a great race, and like I said, the people that are here, the champions of all champions are here, including legends. I mean, we have everything here, 2-cycle, 4-cycle drivers. It is going to be unpredictable. Right now, the junior class just got finished. I want to thank the sponsor, Long Island Youth Karting. It's a sponsorship in Long Island, New York, where I'm from and where I race, that this one gentleman is helping kids that have some problems and getting them into the sport of karting. And we thank Long Island Youth Karting for sponsoring this CKNA class, the junior class. Oliver Raymond is the person's name, and he just couldn't make it here this week. I think whatever's happening at school with his kids and stuff. But again, we want to thank Long Island Youth Karting for doing what they do and for sponsoring this CKNA race. And in this class, we got some top racers. It's going to be rough to say who's going to win this one. I think you know, like Isaac Mount Hewitt,
sure.
you know these drivers from other series, and they're top people. It's just going to be an unbelievable race here.
Yeah, there's a lot of superstars here. I mean, Isaac Malko's one of the drivers that we're super familiar with, obviously on the two-stroke side of things, and the list goes on and on here. Christopher Wakefield's a driver that I've grown super familiar with.
He's won a lot already.
Exactly, and he was over at Texas with us earlier this year, running the IKF Grand Nationals whenever we went live for that event, as well another one of the big marquee 206 events that we have on the year and that we were lucky to cover this year down at Emerald Kart Complex. But this is a great event to see all these heavy hitters from all their respective states, from all their respective clubs, and one of you made a great point. If you're good at home, come out here and see how good you are against some of the best drivers in the nation, in the world even. I know there's a lot of people from France here this weekend as well. You guys were talking about drivers from New Zealand, and yesterday I was, wrangling drivers, looking around to take some pictures of some drivers, and they were telling me, oh, he's in the middle of Canada. And, me, I'm like, oh, he probably didn't come here this weekend. But there's actually a corner called Canada Corner here where all the Canadians are kind of wrapped up this weekend. Yeah, so that's great. I was fortunate enough to race this event last year, and it was great. And this year, it just gets bigger and bigger, fellas. And this is great to see this amount of drivers, this amount of faces. It was great. I was here for about a couple of hours last night and saw so many familiar faces that I was used to seeing at Cup Karts over in Texas. You guys were talking about the big Texas contingency, so shout out to all my fellow Texans that are here this weekend. But this is great. It's great to be out here. Dave, I know you were having a good time yesterday at the podium celebrations as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we got through that. So this is the second half of the junior class coming up next. So we did have that Group A. Now we've got Group B, and there's some big names out there.
Look at the lineup. Look at these juniors. How many of them are here? And like I said, they've traveled some far distances, and I got to believe these drivers coming from Texas, coming from California, coming from the state of Washington, coming from Nevada, they're probably one of the best in their state, and they're coming here to see how good they are against the best drivers in all of North America.
Look at all these nervous tuners standing behind. That just cracks me up. Yeah. That's some of the facial expressions you get from some of these people. And this isn't even qualifying yet. We're still in happy hour.
Yeah, no, for sure. So here on the bottom of your screen, the Friday morning schedule here. Warm-up kicked off at 8:45 a.m. We went in a happy hour a couple of minutes ago. That's at 9:50 a.m. And if you want to stick around for qualifying, the last of our free coverage here for the morning sessions. That starts at 11:10 a.m. for the RLV Fast Lap Qualifying sessions. Heat racing action for KC Premium members only. Again, for $9.99 a month, become a KC Premium member and watch all the racing action live. If you want to subscribe, this is the weekend to do it. You're not going to want to miss one session, one heat race, one qualifying session, because stuff like that can happen at any given moment. You see already a big pileup.
Getting on the grid.
Already a big pileup, just getting out of the grid for the happy hour session here, fellas. And it
is crazy.
Man,
I was on the grid yesterday, and this is what was going on. I mean, it was just the grid. I was trying to tell them, don't wreck your kart on the grid. Get out on the track. And again, this is warm-up. So again, try to protect your equipment so you can make it to the features on Sunday. But as you mentioned, I recommend that people join Kart Chaser right now. Now it is the time to do it. It's good for a month. So you will get all the events, not just this one, but you're good for a month. It's just not about for this race.
Yeah, no, and again, another point to add to that, if you subscribe on an iOS device, then it is going to charge you an additional $3. That doesn't go to us. It goes straight to Apple. So if you do want to become a member, join on an Android or a laptop device or a desktop device as well, and to charge the $9.99 a month, that doesn't go to Apple.
And then you can access it once you've established it on your Android or your laptop.
Yes, sir. So then you can access it on your iPhone and whatever account that you're kind of logged into. So it's a great feature for us. I know I've walked around the paddock as well this morning. See a lot of teams already have the TVs up with the live stream, seeing some of their drivers. But with 635 go-karts here this weekend, it's going to be hard to keep up with everybody.
So yeah, no, great. Like I said, this is the biggest race karting event, I believe, in North America right now at this time. A little before you saw a shot, you saw trucks going by. That is Route 70.
Yeah, Interstate 70.
Interstate 70.
Left to right is
whole United
eastbound.
States. Yeah. So yeah, I mean we're right here, right off Route 70 in Spiceland.
Spiceland, yeah, or they also call it Newcastle. And roughly how far are we from the border, from the Ohio border? I think
not that
30
far.
miles.
2 hours, about an hour and a half, correct?
1 hour and a half?
Yes, sir.
Ohio? Okay.
MCC, the Motorsports Club of Cincinnati, a track that we also go to, is about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from here.
Oh, okay.
So the border is relatively about an hour away, so it's not too far. A lot of tracks in the Midwest in very close range, which is the coolest part about it. A lot of drivers from all over being able to come and not have to go either 8 hours, 15 hours to get here this weekend.
Richmond is the town right on the border.
Yes, and that's where we
Some
stay.
of our people are actually staying in Richmond. Yep. I mean, that's how crowded it was that was the closest they can get. So they're staying in Richmond, which is right on the Ohio. It's in Indiana, but it's right on the Ohio.
And just think about that. Here we are out in the middle of nothing, Indiana, and we've got 625 entries. That means well over 2,000 people here. Not all, but a lot of them are looking for hotel rooms. So this must be real good for the local economy, I'm thinking.
Yeah, there's a lot of campers here this weekend, obviously, but if you get to the hotel that we're at, I mean, there's not an open spot in the parking lot to find another place to fit another car, and it goes out to Greenfield, Indiana, which isn't too far back. I know there's a lot of Airbnbs in the area. The Shoe, the famous hotel here in Indiana as well, is
we couldn't even get in there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's super hard, and this is what happens when any big race comes to town. But I feel like this race, it's even more than the usual, and hotels are probably scratching their heads. What's going on this weekend? What's going on?
We told the hotel we're in.
And if you're in town this weekend and watching from Indiana, this is a race that you're not going to want to miss. Come Championship Sunday later on this weekend, there's going to be trophies given out. I know toolboxes that are given out, and a huge shout out to Greg Jasperson and the entire CKNA team that give out so many prizes at the end of the year for divisional champions across North, South, East. I think I don't know if they have it West, Canada as well. So the amount of prizes, all the tires, the bags,
everything.
The list goes on and on.
I think
here.
There's like $25,000 worth of stuff out there.
Yeah, no, correct. But that's all to give back to this community that sticks around and races here year in, year out. So it's great to see so many loyal CKNA members that continue to come back.
And I highly suggest everybody, pay the $9.99, is it? $9.95? Yeah, $9.99, whatever, Caleb. And watch the whole event this weekend. And next year, as soon as this weekend's over, sign up for next year. You better come on out.
Yeah, we're busy year round from December all the way to December of the next year. This year was super busy for us, picking up grassroots events, picking up more CKNA events. We went to Charlotte, which was the first one we got to spend some time together, fellas. And then we went to Pittsburgh, where I raced. You guys were obviously working there with Xander, and then we're back here this year. So it's great, and we look to pick up even more events for next year. We want to be everywhere. With the limited hands that we have. But it's great to be at as many places as we can, meet as many new people that we can, and again, we try and just give back a little bit to the karting community.
Yeah, I mean, what I got to say about Kart Chaser, and I go back, I'm an old-time car racer, but all we had was maybe, if we were lucky, if we had a magazine that covered us, and got it out there. Kart Chaser has brought this to the next level. I appreciate it. I know the drivers, I know the pit crews, everybody appreciates it, that this could be televised and that people from home could see it, and it also brings it to the next level. Now, look at the coverage. I mean, the camera people are great out there. They hone in on our voices. We're talking about something and they quickly get to it. They got the track covered. It's going to be great tonight with the lights. Hopefully that looks really good on camera. It'll be my first time seeing it, a race at night, but I've seen Kart Chaser do races at night, I should say.
Yeah.
So, but first time at Newcastle, that's for sure. So it's just been good. Kart Chaser, and we thank Doc Barron, of course, for supporting this, getting us Kart Chaser for all the big national events at CKNA.
Yeah, Dr. Todd and his brother is supposed to be here this weekend.
They
too,
are.
so.
They are. And he's in Masters, and I believe he might be running two Masters and Legends.
Correct.
Dr. Todd,
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah, correct. Dr. Todd Barron, again, he's a huge shout out to him and the Barron Racing team. And you guys were talking about our production crew that's hard at work, long days for us. So, again, a huge shout out to our entire camera crew that's out there on the racetrack. Isaac Aguirre, Luis Diaz, Gabby Selden, Alexis Warren on the super sub as well. So, huge shout out to everybody and our entire production crew here as well. Riley Can, Simon Sykes, obviously Xander, Trevor Blue, Grady as well, new with us this weekend. And to you fellas as well, thank you very much for sticking here with us and on what's going to be a great day. You know, it's long.
Caleb.
Yeah, well,
Caleb.
well, yeah, I appreciate that. But it's long days, but again, when you look at the schedule, you kind of think about the workload that's ahead of us, but it's going to be super exciting from start to finish. Green and checkered flag, we're talking about breaks that we're going to take throughout the day. And I don't know about you fellas, but I don't even want to take a break throughout the day because it's going to be so exciting, correct?
But and I got to watch the volume, keep the volume at a so I'm not blowing somebody's ears out, because it is really going to get exciting, I believe, and it's going to be a great race, and we're looking so forward to this. And when I look down at the names that were coming here and the champions from all the divisions, happy to see that. Of course, I'm rooting for the East Division champions to be up there, but it's just great that all the every divisional champion has registered for this race, and that's really great. I mean, that we got that type of turnout. Like I said, we're missing one person, Wyatt Fink from the East. His father and then family just couldn't make it, and he won just about every one of our races in the East. That he would have been a great competitor, but we miss him, and we wish him well. But the rest of the people, the Canadians, the South, the North, and the East Series, they're all here looking to become a Grand National champion.
We'll be right back. Our quick commercial break. Thank you for sticking with us. This is the 8th edition of Cup Karts North America's Grand Nationals. We'll be right back after the break.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself, quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Welcome back to New Castle Motorsports Park. We are here for the CKNA Grand Nationals 8, and we have officially wrapped up the beginning of the morning round of practice sessions. Full round of warm-up, basically practice 1 and practice 2 today, but notably happy hour. And the interesting note there for happy hour, that is going to split our groups up for qualifying. So classes that are full at their standard 60 cart capacity or less, for example, Kit Kart, the majority of those classes have been split into 2 groups for qualifying. Only a handful will have the entire class out for qualifying. Some of the bigger classes that are going to be split in 2 groups of 60 for their heats, for example, in this morning group, that would be senior medium. We saw them in 2 practice groups. They're going to be in 3 qualifying groups. Junior will be in 3 qualifying groups. Masters was 1 group for practice. They are in 2 groups for qualifying. Cadet is in 2 groups for qualifying. In fact, the only class that will run everyone together for qualifying will be Kit Kart. Those specific groups will be posted in the Newcastle Motorsports
lobby.
Racers Grill lobby. Okay. Yep, where they normally are. So for racers that are listening in on the PA all around the paddock, if you need to know which qualifying group that you are in, so that way you're not up at the grid too early or missing it and being too late, go to the Racers Grill, the main registration building. We've got printouts already posted for all classes based off happy hour results of which qualifying group you will go into. So, once again, folks, that's just to get your qualifying groups. And those that are watching along at home, well, you can see we've got our countdown to green. Small gap in the action right now to allow the hard-working CKNA officials, our awesome kart chaser broadcast crew, camera crew especially, out there in the elements all day long. It's going to be a long day. It's a long day for us, but for me, for Tony the Toe, and for Dave Mack, well, of course, we're in the AC. We've got a bathroom right nearby. We've got a cooler of waters right nearby. So it's a little bit different of the experience throughout the day. But even then, we're still taking some breaks here and there. So with all that said, folks, we've got a short break throughout different portions of the morning and then the afternoon. And again, this is just the morning timeline. Again, this is only half of our coverage today. All of this right now is free to view, warm-up and happy hour. Qualifying, every class will be free to view. And then heat number 1 will kick off at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. That'll be exclusive to KC Premium members. For those that are watching along at YouTube, if you haven't heard about us or if you haven't signed up yet, we are $9.99 a month. Keep in mind, it's $12.99. If you're seeing that price, that's because you're on an Apple device like your iPhone or your iPad. We don't get those extra $3. Don't pay $12.99. Yeah. Sign up on a regular PC or computer or Android. Get your $9.99 price per month. You can cancel at any time.
And then you can watch it on your app.
And then you can watch it. Yeah, then you can watch it on your Apple device. You can always log back in later. But when you're doing the registration, don't use that because Apple and Google, well, they're not the best of friends.
Right.
Unlike me, Tony, and Dave Mack, we're best friends. And so they are fighting each other for money, and we don't get those extra $3. So we appreciate the support, but we also want to save y'all money. Right. That's all about the 206 program, right? Is saving money, keeping money in your pocket, getting you more laps for your dollar.
Yep, and that's what Briggs & Stratton and CKNA has done for this whole racing, bringing it to the next level, giving these drivers that were locally running this, running the 206 class, giving them a place to test their skills and to see how they can do. And we got people, like I said, from all over coming to this race to see how they can do against the best drivers in 206 in North America. So really, this is a major event here with people traveling, like I said, great distances. And it could be anybody's race, and we'll see. I mean, we know we have our favorites, right? I mean, we know there's people here that they could do it. But it could be that visiting person that we don't know what'll happen.
Well, along with our schedule here at the bottom of the screen, well, we've shown you a number of practice sessions with all the classes. We'd like to show you a little bit of the full overhead map view of the racetrack here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Our official track map preview presented by Kart Class, your number 1 digital online learning platform. And here's a look at the official track for CKNA Grands 8, presented by Odenthal Racing Products and Zamp Helmets. As you can see here, it is a 19-turn course. The Kit Karts do have the alternate layout. You'll see the long start-finish line straightaway, call that Long Pond straightaway here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Each of these turns, well, they've got their own special corner here. You have turn number 1, of course. That's also where they'll start, where they'll finish. We've got that great head-on shot down by turn number 1. We'll show you some of these live shots around the track as well of what this looks like in person and not just on this image. But you got 90-degree corners to kick off the racetrack. So big run down that end of the straightaway. You'll be bouncing the rev limiter, pushing the engines to the limits, having a big draft run right here through those white tram lines. Now, again, the CKNA rules. Jason Burgess, our head flagman, he's always about it, letting you know. Or so, no, not Jason.
Here.
He's not here.
No,
Are you
Brian,
serious?
not here.
Jason couldn't make
Sorry
you flake
about
down on
that.
us this year?
Jason's at Petit
Well,
Le Mans.
I will say, Jason, to be fair, he's got a very good excuse to be at
Yeah.
another pretty big race.
Yes.
I don't know. This
Yes.
one, that's a couple more drivers, I think.
Well, I think because this moved.
Yeah,
this
it
race
did.
Moved,
We had to move around a little
right,
bit.
we
But
had to move it
wishing
around.
Jason a good weekend down at Petit Le Mans. We're looking forward for a great weekend here at CKNA Grand Nationals 8. But Jason, even though he's not here, I did see him on Facebook hollering and saying, guys, numbers. Make sure your numbers are visible. And, of course, reminding everyone, as he does every year, for the CKNA start procedure, drivers have to stay inside those tram lines. So those black lines down there on the graphic, the white lines on the racetrack, they have to stay in the lines till they pass the start-finish line, and the green flag comes out, and then they can break formation. So that's through turns 1 and 2. Then, of course, you see where it says the false grid. That is where the karts are lining up for every session except for the main events on Sunday. Sunday, they will be down between turns 1 and 2. We'll have the typical Dave Mack grid walk. Dave, I'm actually going to be able to join you down there this year.
Oh, cool.
Maybe we'll get Tony to go down for a session or two, walk the grid. Caleb Viesk will be able to go down with you as well. But that's down between turns 1 and 2, so they have the grid. This is a look at the false grid right here. You can see, of course, getting ready to go out onto the racetrack here are our cadets. They're our first group for qualifying, and as mentioned, they are split in half, even though we saw them all together for the first 2 rounds of practice. The warm-up right to kick off the day, and happy hour. The happy hour results set the groups. Bottom half of happy hour, right below the cut line, are the first ones to go out, and the fast half from happy hour, who had some good performances in the last practice, they'll be the second group to go onto the racetrack. In theory, they get a little bit more rubber laid down. Track might be a little bit hotter, might be a little faster. More important than anything else, you got some good dancing partners around you, or fast guys around. That means more than anything else, you're not getting woed up by slow traffic. So, but that's a look down at the false grid. Of course, we've got some coverage down there. That's right by turn number 3. That's how they'll enter the racetrack every session except for the main events on Sunday. Even the showdowns, those are going to be so much fun. We can walk down the whole false grid, both the Briggs Out of the Box Challenge and the inaugural Senior Showdown Saturday night. Those shootout all-star races, those will be free to view just like practice and qualifying. So share the word, spread the word. It's a 2.5-hour tight, jam-packed, awesome racing show. We wanted to really get it to everyone. So that one's fully free to view. While the heats and the regular main events, they are premium members only for live. They will be fully free to view for replay later next week. Now this, of course, takes us over to turn number 4. We sometimes call that the scale corner because it's right by the scale house. We've seen already a few of the angles over there. We do have a camera just past turn number 4 as well. That's our second full-time camera station. We've got a walking camera that can walk through the false grid. It can walk over to tech, although we don't want to zoom in too close and let people know what's going on. We want to make sure that the racers are always a little bit scared and not trying to push the lines because they saw in tech that they were only checking something. But anyhow, scale turn number 4, and then they go down to turn number 5, another major passing zone, arguably probably passing zone number 3. Sometimes you see some sketchy passes in turn 3 right before because you're exiting turn 2 to the right side of the track. You swing back over to the left. But it's close because, again, with 206s, it's not about long braking zones. It's short, and it's keeping momentum up, and that doesn't always mean that you get a lot of brake zone pass opportunities. A lot more of them are at the end of long straightaways, and turn 4 to turn 5, that's long enough for a decent passing zone. Sometimes you'll see some moves into turn 6. Coming out of turn 5, same way. You go through the left corner, it shoots you out to the driver's right-hand side of the racetrack, then they swing back to the left for turn 6. Sometimes you get some pretty cool passes right there. We got a good angle. And turn 5 is also known as the blue corner because, as you can see there, blue corner station. Newcastle Motorsports Park has those awesome covered corner stations for the hardworking track officials full-time. You got a blue one over at turn number 5. Through turn 6 and 7, double right-hander leads into what we call the cell tower hairpin. Coming out of turn number 8, that last kink shoots you all the way to the outside for turn number 9. This is a big time passing zone and a major, major spot. We've got a great angle right looking head on coming into turn number 9 here this weekend. It's the first time we've been able to do it at Newcastle Motorsports Park. This alternate angle over by the 9th corner, it looks fantastic. Then turn 10, turn 11, kink all the way over to the green corner. Good passing zone there. Then through the kink at turn 13. All the way leads you into what's called scoreboard corner at turn 14. There used to be a massive scoring pylon. Well, right there now is the overall light towers, and then it's the run down the straightaway. There's 2 more sections of the racetrack as they begin to send them out here for Cadet. You've got the shark fin halfway down the backstretch coming out of that scoreboard infield hairpin, and then you've got the I-70 hairpin. Right in the background of it is Interstate 70, so that's what it's known as. It's turned 17, 18, 19 to complete complete the full lap around Newcastle Motorsports Park. And well, now no longer happy hour. It's time for qualifying, and let's go ahead and kick things off here for our cadets. And well, once again, folks, we've got a lot of them. They've got just a couple of laps to kind of get things together, and you saw them all getting sent out onto the racetrack here somewhat in order, and that is to make sure that they are at least the way they ranked in the happy hour, I believe, is the way that they were gridded for qualifying. So for these first two drivers that we're watching head towards us here at the I-70 hairpin complex, well, for these two, including the number 46 machine, they were the first two drivers just below the position cut to go into the fast group. So that would be the number 46 of Lincoln Wiley. Was the first driver below the cut line following off happy hour practice. He ended up, based on how I'm taking a look at that session on the split, pretty close. The deltas, I mean, they're always close, right, in 206 racing. He was 26, so it's 25 and 25 it looks like, or yes, 25 and 25 for 50 total in cadet, sold-out class. And Lincoln Wiley was only 800ths away from ending up in the fast group. But the good part is he's got clear racetrack in front of him. No traffic, and let's see if he can't get a little bit of help maybe from the number 24, Jackson Reinholtz, who lines up right behind him there on that Franklin Motorsports Merlin. And the next one as well in that line, teammate to Lincoln Wiley is Elam Stoner on the AMAX Racing machines. The two of them, you can see similar colors there, the Coyotes, the blue and white and chrome. First and third in our little pack that we're kind of following around. Now qualifying again is just 3 laps the distance here for the field. But the important part here is that we'll make sure that we've got both groups getting full 3 laps. So bear with us here as we get our ticker dialed in for the very beginning. But we're going to see the first timed lap come through now. 1 lap down, 2 laps to go in qualifying for our very first group in our very first class cadet, and the benchmark set by Elam Stoner at 124.81. Tony?
Yeah, I mean, this is the cadet class being brought to you by Lawson Speed Shop. We thank them for that. And this is, like Xander's been saying, these are the slow, I don't want to say the slower, but this the first half. We try to keep the carts so they do not get into each other's way. We price, the happy hour gives them their position to go out. And right now, I mean, Keith Champagne, the race director, told everybody there is absolutely no contact during this RLV time trial. So drivers got to be real careful. They will get penalized if they touch another driver. This is about getting a time on your own without being pushed by somebody or bumped. So both drivers would get penalized, and I feel bad for the driver that maybe had nothing to do with it but got bumped from the back, but that might have given him a little faster time. So both drivers would get penalized. So we ask that all drivers do not make any kind of contact in this RLV time trials to get your starting position in your first heat.
Well, that's going to make things very interesting, of course, Tony, because as you know, the best place to be when it comes to the draft for a fast lap is closing into someone from behind them. So right now, at least, all the kids are relatively playing well, but I think that was why we saw in that first lap when Elam Stoner went by on Jackson Reinholtz. Jackson came down this straightaway right here a lap ago and put his hand in the air and said, hey, man, what the heck? Well, you know, Elam had no choice. If he thought he was a little faster, he has to pass him because he's not allowed to push him in qualifying.
Right, exactly. And just what you're saying, you want to get into that draft, so you're going to get behind somebody as close as you can get, but not touch them to get maybe that 1 lap where you're in the draft and maybe catching a little extra speed there. But again, if that person is really that much slower in front of you, you have to pass them in order, and you got to do it early. It's only 3 laps. So really, this is what this race brings, the strategies that drivers have to have. And look at these cadets. They're young drivers, and they're playing it good. I mean, I haven't seen any contact. I've seen drivers getting into the draft here, and we still got a whole nother group to qualify. Right now, it's Ryder Thompson. He is the person at the top, and he went purple with a well, we know it's all over a minute, 23.288. That is the time to beat right now. That's who's in first place. Nathan Stockwell with a 1.24296, so 24.296, but you got to be in that 23-second bracket you want to run with the top people. what? We still got another group to qualify, and supposedly they are faster, but you never know if there was somebody in this group that maybe had problems during the happy hour, and they are fast. Right now, it is Ryder Thompson in the number 904. He turned a 23.288. They're all a minute, and all of these drivers are over a minute. I'm giving you the last 4 digits just to make it easy. 23.288 is the time to beat. He is the only driver in this class right now that has broken into the 23-second bracket. The 1 minute, 23-second bracket is the time to beat. But we still have another group to qualify, and these drivers should be a little faster, and maybe the track is in a little different condition. We'll see what happens, Anthony.
Yeah, let's, oh, sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to say, watch them when they come out on the grid now, and we'll get a cameraman down there, and they all look forward and to the left, and what they're doing is they're watching the person to let them out. I think it's Lynn Brown is down there, and she's spacing them out just right. And that's very important. You don't want to go out early because you want that gap. You want to have the air gap so you can catch somebody, and that's what you were talking about. Once you catch them, you're fast, but you don't want to touch.
It's a risk-reward thing, right?
Yes.
You don't want to catch them and have to make a pass or get held up, but if you're able to time it where you end up on their bumper by the end of the lap and you started it a little further back, well, you go a little faster than whatever they do and benefit off that draft. Here's again, as Tony was mentioning, Ryder Thompson, a 1:23.288, nearly, well, actually more than that, not even nearly, a full second faster, if this is all correct, which it appears to be, than Nathan Stockwell, who did a 1:24.29 on the opening group. So keep an eye on Ryder Thompson. When you have the slow group and the fast group after practice, well, sometimes you do end up with fast drivers stuck down in it. And if you're a fast driver or you think you're fast, you're hoping for not just to go towards the top or fastest in the group. You want a big gap to the guys behind because you hope that the next class is going to kind of fill in that gap a little bit. If he only went 8 thousandths faster than Nathan Stockwell, well, we would imagine that at that point everybody coming up is going to go faster. But this is a pretty high benchmark that has been set at a 1:23.288. We're going to quickly flicker on back to the rest of the drivers that have run all 25. Back to Levi Shepker there in the number 6. 5 seconds to find for him and about a half second up to Jackson McNeely. So that's how your favorite drivers in that first group, 25 of our 50, have fared so far for qualifying of the cadets. But now the fast 25, including the fastest couple from practice, that'll be the first one set on the racetrack, are getting ready to go. So we are moments away from the other half of our cadet group for qualifying. And again, this is the first group, first class division. We've got ourselves about an hour and 45 minutes worth still of setting the grids for heat number 1. And then the important thing to remember as well, folks, these heats at CKNA Grand Nats, it's progressive. The whole weekend all totals up and builds towards the main event. But it's an interesting way of doing them progressively because it's not, if you qualify last, you start last in heat 1, and then you win heat 1, you instantly get to, if you win heat 1, yes, heat 1 will directly set heat number 2. But it is the points total as you're accruing over the weekend, and especially for the classes that are split in half for the groups. That points total means you don't quite know where you're going to line up on the grid for the next heat and the next heat, but you know that if you're moving forward in the heats or you're holding even, you're going to be okay. If you had a great heat 1 and a great heat 2, but then you're wrecked great heat 1, wrecked in heat 2, that doesn't mean you start dead last for heat 3.
Right.
You get the average of the two, the point total scored. So that's a cool way to do it. I think it's a lot of legwork. It keeps people kind of guessing. The only downside really is the drivers don't always know exactly where they start on the grid until we get closer to the actual race session itself. But that being said, it just kind of all builds one big sum to line up for the main event. So as the first drivers are getting released off the grid there, gapped out, as you mentioned, by Lynn Brown, a live look here into us at the Kart Chaser official commentary booth. Here's a look. Good morning to everybody. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage so far. Of course, my name's Xander Clements. Tony the Toe Cirillo here. Dave Mack on my left, the official voice of CKNA. And, of course, Caleb Biesco will be joining us in the booth and down on pit lane throughout qualifying. We know he'll be chatting with some of our top qualifiers, so there's a good chance one of them could come from this group. The odds are in their favor. The fastest 25 from Happy Hour here. And as an update, We did believe initially that kid karts were going to be the only class this morning that were going to be run all together. After the officials have taken a closer look at it, official word from CKNA Race Control, they will also be splitting the kid karts in half with a fast and a slow group, which I'm sure is going to be appreciated by the parents because that'll, again, clear the racetrack of a little traffic. And when you're only running 3 laps for qualifying, well, it doesn't take that much time to run one more session of it, right?
And you know, again, CKNA constantly looking at how could they make things better, how could they make things safer, and it has been decided to split that group up. Right now, we're in the RLV qualifying times, and the time to beat was Ryder Thompson, who had a 1.23.288, so a minute and 23. I predict they're going to get into the minute and 22-second bracket when it comes down to it, right, Dave?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. As you said, this is going to be a little bit faster group than the first one out.
Right.
Yeah, and there's some names out there.
Oh, there's some top people driving in this cadet class being brought to you by Lawson Speed Shop. And this is the RLV qualifying, which will give them their starting position in their first heat. So these drivers have been doing a great job of we said no contact. If you contact another driver, there's going to be a penalty. So no contact during these RLV time trials is so important for the drivers. So we're seeing some drivers, you're seeing they can make the pass. That's not a problem. As long as they don't make contact, they can make the pass. And if there's a slower driver in front of them, they have no choice. They might want to get in the draft, but if that driver is that much slower than them, they got to move and try to make the pass, which will maybe give them not the greatest lap time on that pass, but hopefully they can come back on the next lap to get their best lap time. So it's a really strategy that these drivers have, and these young people just know what to do, and they're doing a great job out there. But right now, like we said, it was Ryder Thompson. He was the person to beat. He's the person holding on to the pole right now from the last route, but I'm guaranteeing we're going to break into the 22-second bracket, a minute and 22, of course, and reminding everybody it takes over a minute to get around this track for this class. It'll be down into the 22-second bracket, I believe. Maybe better. Let's see, Dave.
And speaking of which, you know, you're talking about possibly touching and whatever. They can't touch at all in qualifying. And there's a lot of cameras out there recording everything and watching it. We've got all kinds of safety features or penalty features in effect this weekend. We're trying a bunch of new stuff. And, yeah, it's going to be watched very, very closely.
Well, we are watching them now here get the last couple of laps in this cadet session. RJ Brown has been able to knock Ryder Thompson off the top by 2.5 tenths, a 123 flat, but only by a little bit. Let's go side by side, though, while they finish qualifying. Brandon Jarsakrak is standing by here, one of the superstars, one of many amongst the 100+ in the senior light and senior medium classes. Caleb? Unmute.
You have a couple of cadet drivers that are trackside right now. What are you telling them?
The mobile cam.
Yeah, just go out and honestly try and get a draft because the draft is so important. Obviously not push because we're not allowed to, but seems like he's doing a really good job catching up to a pack, and hopefully he gets to put some up front.
Sounds good. And you're driving. How are you feeling to be back in the seat here after quite some time?
I'm feeling good. It's been about 3-4 months since I've been in the seat since Pittsburgh, but we rounded out for medium third, so that's really good. Tried a bunch of stuff yesterday, found some stuff that worked, found stuff that didn't. But it's going good, and hopefully we can qualify up front and have a good race later.
Well, there you guys have it from Brandon Jarsakrak, team owner and driver this weekend. Back to you guys in the booth.
Okay, we're back, and right now the person to beat is Austin Taylor, the number 224, but hold on, he just got bumped from the pole by Jaden Francisco, who turned a minute 22.581. So 22, I said they'd break into the 22-second bracket. Right now, Jaden Francisco, number 30, he is your pole sitter. Austin Taylor in the 224, sitting out in the outside pole right now with a 22.821. I believe if you want to be at the top drivers here, you got to be in that 22-second bracket. Parker Stewart also with a good time, 22.922. That puts him in that fourth place. RJ Brown, who had a good opening lap, 22.949, ends up in fifth. I believe RJ Brown's out of Smithfield, Missouri.
Okay, that's news to me. I didn't know we had anybody from Missouri. Well, we have St. Louis.
I'm pretty sure I got him registered as Missouri.
Okay.
So these are one of the drivers that I'm not familiar with.
No.
And here he comes. He's already in the top 5. Dominic Gaddis with a 22.952. You can see that 22-second bracket is where you have to be. Hudson Howard with a 23.066 puts him back in 8th place. You got to be in that 22-second bracket to be with the top 5. Jackson Katie and Drew Blam. I'm sorry about Blam. He does a great job. He gets a 22.508, puts him up into that 3rd starting position, but it's Hayden Lawson. Hayden Lawson.
That's got to be Gary's son, right?
That's Gary.
It
it's
is.
Lawson Speed Shop
Yep.
sponsoring this
Okay.
class. Hayden Lawson, number 10, goes to the pole with a 22.463. Hayden Lawson, and we thank Gary Lawson for Lawson Speed Shop for sponsoring this class. And right now, he puts his kid up front.
And by a very, very close margin. My goodness, fellas. Check out the official or unofficial results
Yeah,
here from
unofficial.
our very first session. Cadet qualifying here on the day. Hayden Lawson, 25 thousandths of a second there on top over Dominic Gaddis and the MPG Motorsports crew to complete the front row alongside the Lawson Speed Shop. I believe Hayden, at least last year, was Parolin. Earlier this year, I believe, was Parolin. I don't know if he's still on that chassis. We'll ID that. We'll get to know him for sure because he's earned himself the spotlight and some airtime with that qualifying performance. Drew Blem, you mentioned Jaden Francisco went to the top on lap 2, couldn't quite back it up. On lap number 3, ends up 4th. Parker Stewart 5th. Ruben Greer, Austin Taylor, Slate Harrell, RJ Brown, and Youssef Adi. Your top 10, about a half-second spread here in one of the youngest divisions, second youngest on the CKNA class structure. The 7 to 10 or 8 to 10-year-old group on the split, more or less there. The Kid Kart start at 5 years old. This class, I believe, you'd have to turn 8. But either way, on the bottom half of the typical 7 to 12-year-old group, and yeah, there it is indeed. 8 to 10 years old, 245 pounds, and the red slide for the limiter. Now let's go further back on how they blended there past the top 15. Here is 16th on back to 30th, back to Anthony Ciafani there in the 171. And then finally on back from 31st to 45th with Benjamin Osborne. And all the way for our final 50. All of them will be together for the heats. There was a quick look at them all. It'll be 3 laps in total for qualifying. We're going to show 4, so it doesn't say finished on the top of that ticker for you. But that was one group. Well, now it's on to the next. We are ready now to get things going for one major senior class. Senior medium, the first of 3 groups ready to go green here for qualifying on the other side. When we return for CKNA Grand Nationals 8, there's a look at Cameron Reed and the Reed Motorsports CRG standing by down on the grid. She's about ready, waiting on him, but the last couple of drivers are getting into position. It's a lot of them, over 115 in senior light, and I think we're right around that same number in senior medium at 110 plus. It's a massive group. 3 groups are qualifying. They're getting ready for the out lap, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the first lap of qualifying.
Brandon, why are there all these
All right,
charges
stop.
for just over $200?
I'm tired of all this Brandon business, okay? Brandon this, Brandon that. Why are there all these expenses on AKR over $200? We know, okay? Take a walk with me. At Shop AKR, they have everything you need to start racing at a very cheap and affordable price. They have MXC rims, they got chains, electrical stands, tilt seats, they got MXCs. And if you didn't know, on top of that, any purchase in the continental US over $200, that's free shipping.
Hey, aren't you supposed to be in the AKR Anonymous meeting over there?
Dude, I'm doing a commercial.
Dude, we have no time. It's about to start.
Stop. We all love Shop AKR. Me? More than others. What do I get at Shop AKR?
MXC rims.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today. Parolin USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at parolinusa.com.
Okay, looks like we're back. This is senior medium, the bottom third. This group is split into thirds, senior medium, and this is the bottom third going out for their hot lap qualifying, sponsored by RLV. By the way, Miranda and the whole gang is here on site. Thank you so much for your sponsorships for so many years, RLV and VLR. We really appreciate it. And you're developing. Your drivers are really getting good. VLR is becoming very, very, very popular. Wicked Nick and the whole bunch of you are just fantastic. So thank you for your sponsorship.
Yeah, good to see them. Art is here from he retired, I think, from VLR, but still involved with them.
Oh, I didn't realize he retired.
I
Okay.
think so. I think I've heard something to that effect. His brother Rod didn't make it.
No, and I'm very surprised.
Yeah, because happened to bump into Art on the grid. Good to see him. I haven't seen him in probably 30 years.
Oh, I had never met him.
Oh,
he came over and introduced himself to me.
I got to thank RLV and Rod and Art. They had me come and announce a race in Santa Maria, California, where their track is.
Oh,
and really took care. Really did a great job and got me out there with my whole family and everything, and treated us really good. So I always have to thank them for that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the whole company there.
All right, Caleb back.
Yeah.
Caleb back with us, and we're getting ready. We're going to get some times now on senior medium, being brought to you by Steel Motorsports.
Oh, Mark Steele. Okay.
Mark Steele. So
Big,
we thank
big
Mark
tent
Steele
for Mark this weekend as well.
Yeah.
There's about,
right.
I think close to the 50 mark under his tent. A lot of drivers under there. Mark's super excited to have that many drivers under his tent here this weekend. And again, I mean, the senior medium class is a marquee class here at CKNA with all the senior drivers and a couple of drivers that we're used to seeing closer to the front of the field, like Cameron Reed here in the CRG Norda machine. She's a driver that we're used to seeing up there at the front. She was at the front at the CKNA Spring Nationals at Charlotte Motor Speedway. She was running inside of the top 5 at one point, inside of the top 10 as well. But this weekend, she's kind of been left scratching her head a little bit. Had an issue in happy hour and kind of struggled since then. And we'll see how she can do. Just past another driver here on the racetrack. So she'll continue to go forward. And a couple of other drivers as well who find themselves in this final third group. So we'll see if they can get their way and maybe into the mix inside of the, I would say top 40, but it continues to change as we go on. 120 drivers here in this class this weekend. So that's going to be one of the craziest things, but already some big drivers coming on our screens here, Tony.
Yeah, Jaden Kraus goes to the head of the pack with a minute 21:160. So we'll stick with the seconds here. 21:160 right now is the time to beat. Drew Zuch in the number 528 with a 21:307. McAndrew Gamrod with a 21:402. And like you said, wow, there's some top names here.
Are all in the
21s. They're having some problems here. So we'll see what happens if they can get it worked out before the Sunday and try to figure things out. But right now, the person to beat is Jaden Kraus, number 13, with a 21:160. Drew Zuch in the 528's got a 21:307. So he's right there. And I'm seeing these times. I think they're going to drop into the 22nd.
I think you're right, Tony.
By the time this qualifying's over.
And this is the supposedly the slowest of the three groups.
Supposedly, but there might be some people in here who had problems in warm-ups and stuff, and they come back and they figure things out, and you'll see them rise to the top. And right now, Jaden Kraus, I mean, what a good time. 21:160, a minute, of course, added to that. Brady Eckhoff, one of our top drivers. Now he turns a 27.74. So they break into the 22nd bracket, a minute and 27.74. Brady Eckhoff doing a good job out there. Jaden Kraus drops to second with a 21:160. But the person to beat, the 027 of Brady Eckhoff with a 27.74.
Yeah, that's fast. That's very fast. I know Jaden Kraus for sure. He does not belong in the bottom third. So he'll improve on that.
As well, another driver that I'm familiar with here, 6'6", Josie Chambers out of Texas. He just moved up to third actually here on our timing screen. So Josie Chambers moves up another spot, and he started at that tail end of this qualifying group. So that means he was last at the end of it, and that's just unheard of for a driver who's been contending for race wins over in Texas with us. And you see Cameron Reed just scratching her head here. It's kind of all falling apart, and this is really a key moment here with the checkered flag in the air. Half of these drivers this weekend are going to go home and aren't going to have a chance to fight for a national championship. at the end of it, and we continue to see more superstars struggle. Aiden Rudolph, he finds himself in the second group looking to race his way in further up this field. His first CKNA outing here this weekend as he waits trackside here on the grid. But everybody else crossing the stripe now, and at the moment, Brady Eckhoff, the quickest driver of the session. You guys were kind of alluding that drivers were going to get into the 120s, and Eckhoff's the only one, a 120.774. He's a good ways quicker than the rest of the field here early on, fellas.
Yeah, so Eckhoff, but you know, we still got the next group to go out and qualify. Definitely they're going to be in the 22nd bracket. You're going to see probably the top 10 get into that 22nd bracket with the names that I see racing in this series right now. So you said Josie Chambers out of Texas?
Correct.
Yeah, for some reason I didn't have that, but good run by Josie Chambers, 21.226, puts him in that third spot right now, but we still have another group to qualify. You're looking at the line for the scales right now.
Yeah, it's Cameron Reed there, and you can see how just almost devastated she is, and I would be as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's a long way to get out here, and you find yourself with issues throughout the day, and this kind of shows you that you have to get here on the Thursday roll really quick, right out of the truck. As soon as you unload, as soon as you put that cart down on the cart stand, you need to be quick, you know, with whatever you have, whatever prep that you did. And again, one of the biggest things coming into this weekend, a lot of drivers don't race on this tire year in, year out. I mean, if you race the CKNA regional races, then you do, but everything at club,
the setup, right?
Everything at club is pretty much MG Reds, Avinco Blues over in Texas for us. So for a lot of drivers over from Texas, like I know Rudolph, this is his first time on the Vega tire here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. And again, with the grip that's been put down over the past 2 weekends, we had the United States Pro Kart Series come out here with about 200 go-karts. And then last weekend, with the Mark Harrison 200, and you see that groove just get wider and wider every single session, and this track's just going to get grippier and grippier as the day goes on. The cool weather helps in the morning, and again, the night is going to help as well when everything cools down. You see a little wave there by Aiden Rudolph. He's going to go by, but you know, a lot of these drivers have to work their way up the field and still have to figure out whatever setup they need. And again, this is qualifying. The big action comes in the heat races. It's all about keeping your nose clean and trying to get through the first couple of laps, and as the race continues to go on. So this is crazy to see. Chase Jones, the Iron Man from last weekend, it was a devastating end for him. He finds himself in the second group as well. A lot of big names, a lot of heavy hitters that are looking to go against some of the best 206 drivers in the world here.
Yeah, you saw Ed Stanton. He's our grid guy, putting them out, trying to space them out. Ed Stanton does all of our grids for the CKNA on the E Series. So him and his son right now, Ryan Stanton, is our main flagman. And he's our flagman for the E Series. You see Ed there now getting the Carters out. So we were talking about changing the flagman for this race. Yeah, Ryan Stanton is the official flag person for this race. We'll see what happens now. We got the second group out there. And I'm telling you, all of these drivers will be in the 27. I mean, the top 10 will be in the 20. I predict the top 10 will be in the 22nd bracket. Yeah. Right now, we do have two drivers. Brady Eckhoff, of course, sitting on the pole with a 27.74, and Josie Chambers out of Texas with a 29.09. So we'll see what happens to those if those times get pushed once we start getting times on this final group of senior medium brought to you by Steel Motorsports.
Yeah, another, we were talking about heavy hitters finding themselves lower down the order. Reagan Seville, TSRS vice champion this year, finished second in the championship behind Bryce Frank, who looks to be in the fastest group. He finds himself in the second group here qualifying as well for the Trackside Karting Services, GFCs, and you see him there kind of holding up the train here and looking to get ahead of a couple of other drivers that are there and telling them to slow down, because this is not what they need. If they find themselves kind of getting, you know, stumbled up or stepping on each other's toes, and that's going to affect Rudolph and the driver behind, and it goes on and on and on, and none of them are going to get good laps in this qualifying session. They need a good draft. You know, need to reposition themselves in a way, but they also can't bump each other. You know, you see Seville doing an important thing here, getting out of the way and looking for a clean spot on the track.
He's looking for a gap, and that's. I tell drivers sometimes maybe you just have to do that. You just have to do that. Don't worry about it. It takes one lap to sit on the pole, but you know, if you don't get that clean lap and you're going to be dicing with somebody, like you're saying, Caleb, that is definitely going to affect your lap time. I don't care how fast you are, it's going to affect your lap time.
And you also don't want to be too far away from anybody else, because you want to draft. The straightaway is super, super long here. Yeah. A lot of other straightaways as well, a lot of fast corners that the draft can help just that little bit more here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. So these are all little things that can really make or break your entire your Grand National charge here this weekend. So things you have to think about, things you have to take into consideration, that you have to do better. And you see a couple of drivers you're already making moves.
Yep.
Rudolph and one of the Steel Motorsports machines there as well, looking to get ahead of a couple of others. So
now we got Jordan Pryor has taken over the pole with a 27.12. Brady Eckhoff got to get. He's in that supposedly the slower group. He's holding on to the outside pole right now. Chase Jones moved up to third with a 28.91. Josie Chambers drops to fourth with a 29.09. Jaden Krause with a 21.160. That's where the break-off point is. You got to be in that 22nd bracket. You want to race with the top four right now. Jordan Pryor, though, with a 27.12. And look at Brady Eckhoff, who was in that first group, 27.74. Let's see what happens here. But there was a lot of dicing going on out there. And some of your top drivers, just as you were saying, Caleb, we're getting into that. So hopefully they got away from that, and we'll see some other drivers moving up into this top 10 in this senior medium being brought to you by Steel Motorsports.
And here's Chase Jones this weekend. He came off of a great race last weekend, but he's again dealing with a lot of kind of injuries that he received from that grueling race, 200 laps. He has blisters in his hand that just popped. He has blisters on the ribs. His hips were heavily bruised and bleeding after the weekend. His knee is as well. He explained it's almost purple from all the 4 hours of racing that his knee was slapping the tank. And he's out here racing in the biggest race in North America here this weekend. And if you want to talk about Ironmans, Chase Jones is a true Ironman, and he leads by example with his MPG Academy team here this weekend, showing the drivers that you have to push through. They have to go that extra mile to get better and better every time they hit the racetrack. And no matter what you're going through on a weekend, Chase Jones is an Ironman in my book, fellas.
A great job here, but Jordan Pryor holding the pole with a 26.40. Scott Clayman, he could be a Masters or maybe even close to no, he's not a legend yet, but he's up there. He's running with the young guys. He's out in second. He's got the outside pole right now with a 26.52. What a drive by Scott Clayman, number 92. Ben Gaughan from our E-Series, 26.63. He's running in third. Chase Jones drops to fourth. Look at this. Josh Stiefel, who was injured all last year, came back, got a few races in. Right now, he's running in the top five with a 27.43. Like I said, you look at the 22nd bracket now, it goes all the way down to 11th place. I said the top 10 would all be in the 22nd bracket.
Checkered flag in the air now. We'll see who holds on the top spot here. The left-hand side of your screen, the pylon has been updated since. Brady Eckhoff went quickest in the second group, in the first group, I should say, but Scott Clayman was quickest.
Unbelievable.
Jordan Pryor just went to the top as well.
Jordan Pryor just bumped him. Whoa. But what a drive by Scott.
Chase Jones.
Now Chase Jones.
Chase Jones just took it.
This is insane. Chase Jones, how about that for the Ironman? 0.3 of a second there.
Wow.
But, fellas, this isn't it. We have one more group set to hit the racetrack with James Overbeck.
Oh, man, right. We still got another group. I forgot there was three groups.
James Overbeck and Kill Zimmerman.
Got Overbeck.
Jarsa Crack, Massimino, the list goes
You
on.
got my
step-grandson,
Hudson Brown. We got some top racers still to come up, but right now it's Chase Jones with a 21.59. He sits on the pole. Jordan Pryor, 24.18. Scott Clayman, what a drive by Scott Clayman. He's out of the Coyote camp, 25.12. Josh Stiefel, Coyote also, 25.43. Top five, Ben Gaughan. From our E-Series, 26.63. So we got some good representation, but we still have another group to qualify, Dave.
And there's some big names coming out yet. I mean, there already was some, but there's some really big names. One of them right there, that's Cale Zimmerman.
Oh, yeah, Cale Zimmerman's definitely a favorite. I've listed him as one of the favorites for this race. Yeah. He's up there at the front. We'll see what happens.
And look at across the track from him, Cincinnati kid, James Overbeck.
Cincinnati kid's right there.
And he says, I'm going that way.
And he was on a win last week, right?
Yeah, he was able to solidify the win. His team owner is right next to him, and a couple of teammates as well. Him and Paulie Massimino were able to win the Mark Harrison 200 last weekend. And James having fun this weekend. He's coming off of a great year all year long. A SCUSA Pro Tour champion at this very racetrack, a Stars Championship Series champion as well here this year. Goes back-to-back in that, and he was close to United States Pro Kart Series Championship as well here a couple of weeks ago. Paulie Massimino as well coming off a good year.
Wow.
Your OKN, your pro champion there for the BJR racing team. And Christopher McKeithen, your reigning CKNA Grand National champion last year, looks to make his return this weekend in the medium class and look to take the win here over a stacked class here this year. Just gets bigger and bigger every time we get to this racetrack. every year of the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. It just gets bigger. And you talk about, drivers and team owners and whatnot, the chassis as well, the variety of it. You have Coyotes, VLRs, Invaders here, CRG machines, Brell Art machines, MGMs as well. And MGM was coming off a year last year where they didn't win a single race, but the Kit Kart race here. Yeah, it was tough. And I know Paul and April Rice went back to the drawing board, and they've had a good year with Owen Lloyd and their entire contingency that continues to get better week in and week out that they hit the racetrack. And this is the decider here. This is the start of what could be, the charge to a Grand National Championship at the end of the year. And again, you build up all year long to this very event. You can lose all the other events, but if you win this one, it's going to be a good year at the end.
Oh, yeah, this is the big one. And I'm saying they're going to break into the 21-second bracket. Right now, we're at the 22nd bracket. Chase Jones with a 21.59. He's the person to beat. But I think these drivers, they're going to get down into the 19-second bracket.
I was wondering. Okay, 19-second bracket, absolutely.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how fast they will go and what will the top 10 look like. But right now, it's Chase Jones, Jordan Pryor up at the front, Scott Clayman in third, Josh Stiefel in fourth, Ben Gaunt in fifth, and Reagan Sable in sixth. Yeah, top 3 rows. So, but we got the last group out there to qualify in the senior medium, being brought to you by Steel Motorsports.
And this is a start here to the race, to the Grand National Championship. It all starts here in qualifying. This is the make or break for your weekend. You need to find yourself inside of the top 10 for a real shot, inside of the top 20 even. Yeah. And you still have to do all the work throughout the heat races in the morning and the night, under the lights and under the sun as well. As you see Zimmerman pull off to the bottom of the racetrack and let the 2 Coyotes through, maybe even 3 with Christopher McKeith in here. Jarsakrak is through, Overbeck is through, and I think for Zimmerman here, maybe looking for another VLR to kind of push with. Another one of the MGMs was able to get around there. I'm not sure if that's Elmer Edmondson or who that was in the MGM that was able to get through.
So, yeah, I mean, you see he's doing a great job here by doing that, figuring out where he has to be to try to get the best lap times he can out of the only 3 laps that they're going to get.
Everybody working through. We're following along here with Paulie Massimino for the Coyote BJR Precision Performance Karting 10, and their name just gets longer and longer every week and every year, right, with the chassis and the amount of teams that are collaborated there this year. But a couple of other drivers, talked about Hudson Brown, Owen Lloyd, who's one of the favorites coming on this weekend. Caleb Gaffera as well, making his return with the MGM team. The star power in this class goes on and on and on. And we can sit here this entire session talking about all the stars in this class. But at the moment, Chase Jones holds on to it. And again, not relative yet, only the first couple of laps. Still early stages in this one. These drivers get 4 laps, and that's all you get. For the rest of qualifying here. 3 laps, I believe, I think there, Dave.
Total, yeah.
So it's going to be,
3 laps count.
Yeah, it's definitely going to heat up here, indeed. So we follow along. Brandon Jarsakrak, Overbeck pushing along.
Oh, yeah, and like I said, Cale Zimmerman playing it smart right in the front, getting on the side, trying to look for a place where he would fit in and not have to worry about, somebody slower in front of him where he can get a good lap time. And like you said, maybe looking for a drafting partner, looking for another VLR. I don't know if that happened, but he did what he had to do right away, right up front, did not wait. So we'll see how this pans out. So quickly, we're still showing Chase Jones at the top with a minute 21.59.
A couple of drivers working their way inside of the top 10. One of the VLRs, Colin Warren, is up to 7th. And when you think about Cup Karts North America, you think about Colin Warren on what he's done here as well. Jerry Fandry, how about that for the Lime Green TB Kart out of Chicago, Illinois. He's up to 5th. And he started way down the order here in that TB Kart. He's around Kelvin Zing there, and he just crossed the stripe. There's Zing, and there's Jerry Fandry, who came so close to a Grand National Championship last year in the 206 heavy class. Only 1 class for him this weekend with new colors, a new chassis for him as well. So we'll see how Jerry gets along here as everybody's starting to put in some laps here, fellas.
Wow, I can't believe Chase Jones still holding on to that pole.
So still early.
Great job. Yeah, it is early, but he's still holding on to that pole with a 21.59. Kart number 017. Of course, he's not out there defending that pole position, but we'll see what happens with this cruise. Christopher McKeithen now up to 5th. Up to 5th. Paulie Massimino gets up into the top 3 right now with a 24.20. Massimino moving his way up. We'll see what happens there. Scott Clayman drops all the way back to 4th. Oh, Ryan
Gensheimer, yeah.
Oh, with a 21.01 on the verge of breaking into that 19-second bracket. Kart number 919 goes to the pole with a 21.01.
And the white flag is out, so this is everybody's last chance, yeah.
This is the last lap here. Everybody has to make or break their laps here. We'll see how Fandry comes along this time around. He did have a good draft here. White flag in the air. Nobody
improved.
I'm not sure what was going on there, pointing to something.
Yeah.
Right now, it's the number 919, Ryan Gensheimer, with a 21.01. I thought he would break into the 19-second bracket. We'll see. There they come for their final lap.
And here again, James Overbeck and Brandon Jarsk are going to be the first two drivers across the stripe, and we'll see how they kind of end up here in this one. Neither of them are inside of the top 10. Jarsk sits just outside as well. Overbeck as well hasn't populated inside of the top 10 here. It's still Chase Jones in second, and that's just insane. From the second group here. Checkered flag in the air now. Overbeck crosses only 7th. Jarsk can't get inside of the top 10. Everybody else starting to come across. Massimino's up to 4th. Gensheimer still holds on to the pole position here. Ian Quinn crosses the line now. He's only up to 9th. Everybody else coming across. Hudson Brown outside of the top 10. Gaffera, Gensheimer goes even quicker this time around, a 120.094.
Oh, so close to breaking into that 19-second bracket, but he didn't do it. But what a run by Ryan, number 919. Will we see anything change here as they are still coming across?
I'm shocked nobody hit a 119.
There's still more drivers crossing the line now. Fandry, Zing, a couple of the VLRs, one of the Invader machines as well. Can anybody improve and try and beat Gensheimer from the top? Frank going to be the last one across the stripe here. He's not going to improve.
No.
A couple of more sets across. Henry Wheeler, a couple of other Mark Steele machines here crossing now. They're not going to improve. But how about it for Chase Jones, the Ironman, a finish second. Gensheimer on the pole position here, unofficially in 2:06 senior medium here at the Cup Karts North America. This is where it starts. A couple of other notables down the order. Obviously, Chase Jones here, fellas. Colin Warren, 3rd. Paulie Massimino, 4th. Jordan Pryor, your top 5 here. You go back to Caleb Gaffera, the first of the MGMs here in 6th. Overbeck, back to Scott Clement. Ian Quinn and Hudson Brown running up your top 10. Josh Stiefel, Owen Lloyd in 12th. Jackson Woney, how about that for the rookie with a Coyote Precision Performance karting team here this weekend. Mitchell Morrow and Christopher McKeithen, your reigning Grand National champion. Only 15.
Isn't that crazy?
And you look at the gaps here as well on the right-hand side of the pylon. Super close in between everybody inside of the top 15 in between half a second. That shows you the class when you come here to CKNA, to Cup Karts North America. That shows you how hard it is to win a race like this against 120 other competitors here this weekend. And this is insane. Again, this is early stages. It could turn upside down for Gensheimer. It could go any which way here this weekend as it goes on. But this is the start.
From?
I have no idea.
You know, Ryan?
I don't.
No, me neither.
I don't. No.
So he's one of those drivers that I said, look out, that you maybe never heard us mention his name up here, and he goes to the front now.
I know he races with us. I've never talked to him. I don't know where he's.
So there's a 919. That's Ryan Gensheimer right there. Again, we're all here scratching our heads. There's no team logos on that chassis. Just
got a Lawson
bumpers all around. Lawson-powered engine, black Sparco suit, and that's what this race is all about here, gentlemen. That's what it's all about. Anybody can be at the top at any given point here in this weekend. And this is exactly what this event's about. This is exactly what we love to see. That was an action-packed first qualifying session here to start off the day. We'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more of your qualifying races and more of your qualifying action set to come your way next.
Maryland USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're going to need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rib protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Car Class has done the hard work for you. We've travelled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Car Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit kartclass.com to get your track information.
Okay, we're back. We're qualifying for Masters, being brought to you by CRG LSR Motorsports, Dave.
And this is the Masters, the half, or the bottom half, the right. less fast, supposedly, group.
Well, we're not seeing that
and we're finding out, yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with anything today.
No, but, man, I'll tell you, I think in that last medium class, the top drivers either anticipated something different of the track or made a change or thought they were going to get better. They did something that put them, not the fact that they were up in the top 5, but we'll see what happens as we get into that first heat. So I don't know. I'm not down there on the track. Maybe the track is definitely getting heated up, and they might have anticipated a change in gear or tire pressure, which they realized after their qualifying they were maybe off. Not way off, but just a little bit off, because that's how tight the competition is here today.
And the sun is totally out here at the racetrack. It's, what time is it locally? About noon here or something? Yeah, so about high noon. The sun is out, not a cloud in the sky. It's slightly overcast, or a slight haze in the air. I'm not sure what that's from, but yeah, the track should be heating up, like I said, Tony. So.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I could figure, because I'm seeing some of the top names, and they weren't challenging for the pole position.
I am still stunned. Christopher McKeithen
right.
only came in 15th so far.
So
yeah,
I'm feeling they anticipated something that really didn't play out. I could be wrong. We'll see what happens in the first heat. But right now we got Ronnie Cleese, number 9, turning a minute 23:095. So 23:095. So there's your Skitchy Barnes in second with a 23:413. Rich Folino with a 23:419 in third. Carlos Moraes with a 23:440. Those are your top 4, top two rows of drivers. So we'll see what happens here in this Masters class, being brought to you by CRG LSR Motorsports.
Skitchy up to the top spot. Number 109, Skitchy.
Skitchy gets a 22.946. That puts him on the pole. Ron Cleese drops to second. Melvin Godsey with a 23.210 is in your third spot. He's number 83. Corey Walsh in your fourth spot with a 23.270. So we got some good racing going on in this Masters class, so we'll see what happens. Right now, it's Skitchy.
Skitchy, that two-stroker, he's invading our territory.
Yeah, I wouldn't even really say two-stroker. I mean, he's used to going about 100 miles an hour around this place, right? 6 gears for him.
Oh, shifter car.
A gearbox racer, yeah, across multiple national scenes. For us, we're used to seeing and internationals as well. He's from Bermuda.
Yep.
And so good to see him out here this weekend. And this is something that he's never done before, and he hasn't gone this low in quite some time. But again, he hasn't seen this many go-karts on the racetrack as well.
That's right.
At any given time. And you know, probably coming to the weekend, Skitchy was like, oh, this is probably going to be, you know, a breeze. I'm coming from shifter. But when you see the quality of drivers in this class and how hard is it to work your way through the field, it's not going to be easy, to say the least here.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, in the medium class, where we saw our top drivers, I'm saying those are the top people. What happened? What happened there? But don't count them out. They're going to come back. They're going to figure it out. But what happened? And Skitchy's got to understand there's a lot of competition here. Ryan Kasner goes to the pole with a 22.569. Wow. He bumps Skitchy. Skitchy had a 22.704, but right now the time to beat is a 22.569 for number 3, Ryan Kasner. So Kasner out of Sacramento, California, takes the pole right now. So I've said these are the drivers that we don't really know coming from far distances. Ryan Kasner all the way from Sacramento, California. Hey, this guy I knew he had to be good coming far that distance, and right now he sits on the pole, but we got another group to qualify.
Yes.
So
supposedly the faster group.
So they are split up to confirm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, this is a good start already for a couple. Skitchy Barnes find himself in second. Ron Cleese as well.
Yeah.
To find himself up there. Ryan Kasner inside of the top 10 here early on, but still a couple of drivers still yet to come out. Mark Steele. And a lot
Ryan
more.
Cassidy.
Yeah, the list goes on and on and on. David Cole, who was so close to a podium in this class last year. I know me and DC messed around a whole lot on the build-up to this race, because last year me and him got into it in the heavy race, and it was funny enough because me and him were pitted right next to each other as well under the LSR Motorsports tent, and he was like, man, we're teammates, and you're over here moving me out of the way.
It's every person for themselves.
David Cole, yes, sir.
DC had a good weekend at Rock Island a few weeks ago, too, when he beat Rob Bowden.
Yeah, on and off the track, I'm pretty
Didn't
sure.
matter how he did, but yeah, he beat Rob Bowden. That was the goal.
You see the number 3, Ryan Kasner there. He was just, he's pretty happy. He's sitting on the pole right now with a 22.569. But like I said, there's still another group out there to qualify.
Yeah, still a lot more here for these Masters. And I'm sure you guys walk around. We usually have our show on Tuesday evenings, KC Grid Talk. And I know Dave Mack was talking about the shirt I was wearing that weekend, obviously, for the show that we do. And we have some picks as well at the end of the show. I know you guys are familiar with a lot of the Masters drivers. If you had to pick a couple of drivers that are your favorites coming into this weekend, who do you think it would be, Dave? We'll start with you here.
Oh, my God. I mean, after what I just saw Skitchy do, he's got to be right up there top. But I wouldn't have expected that, and I don't want that. I don't want a two-stroker to invade our territory. I told Ray Ciliberante that the first year he came here. He says, I know who you are, I know how good you are, and I wish you well. Just don't beat my people.
What about you?
I'm going with Ryan Cassidy.
Yeah?
You know, he's a legend in my book. I've raced against him many years ago, and he's still racing out there, and I appreciate him representing the four-cycle people. He was always a champion and remains a champion, and I'm saying he's going to be a tough guy to beat here this weekend.
Talk about tough guys to beat. I think Mark Steele.
There you
go.
I'm not going to take anything away from Steele. You're right.
Ones to beat here this weekend. He's shown his pace against the senior classes even. I raced against him at Pittsburgh, and that's a hard man to beat.
Oh, yeah.
As well in the Masters class, you can only imagine as well. A couple of locals as well. David Galonia is here this weekend. Expect him to be quick. He's a driver that we're used to seeing on the two-cycle side of things, but he always knocks out the four-stroke whenever there's local races and whenever route comes to town as well. So look out for David Galonia to be quick, and I could go on and on and on here, with all the drivers that are going to be super, super quick here this weekend. So
we got Sean Myers. He's a past champion, also definitely somebody to look out for. Eric Fagan, who has won many CKNA races. He's in this group. Todd Barron Of
Yeah.
course,
Dr.
Dr. Todd, he has been really fast in a lot of the races that he has raced in here, and we thank him again for helping us with getting Kart Chaser to cover all the nationals of CKNA. So we'll see what happens here. But right now, sitting on the pole is the number 3 of Ryan Kasner with a 22.569. Of course, a minute in 22.569. But and Sketchy Barnes right there in second.
I'm thinking Chris Carroll too is another one.
Chris
you know,
Carroll,
defending champion.
They used to call him the Coyote Kid.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been with Coyote since he's a kid, and still on a Coyote. And he won it last year.
Yes,
Chris,
he did.
Chris Carroll's one of the harder guys to find around a place like this. Especially we were looking for him all day yesterday, looking to get some pictures, and we couldn't find him. And apparently he'd been told multiple times, and then we finally found him, and he was like, "All right, I'll go." I'll do it. So. I have to beg these guys sometimes, but it's always good. It's always good fun, and this is one of the big things as well that I like about this event. The environment here is second to none, like no other event. I mean, the nightlife here as well. There's bonfires going on, people grilling every night.
Little Canada.
Little
every year I try to make it to Little Canada at least one night.
My son went fishing in the pond, caught a nice bass.
Yeah, that's nice.
Really?
And it's a long walk wherever you go here as well, but there's fishing out here. People are grilling. There's campers all the way down fence to fence, and this is great. This is a great event, and Newcastle Motorsports Park, again, a huge shout out to Mike Adams and everybody who puts this on, the Dismore family as well. Here that put this on for us, and every single event that we come to is always a special one. And as we look on now, back to the on-track action, here's one of my favorites coming into this weekend, and one of the best drivers this year as well in the Masters class, Mark Steele. Yeah. Going around there here, leading his 10, and he was saying that he was unsure, thought his driving was going to suffer a little bit with the amount of people that are under his tent, but
a lot of work.
He's like, I've been able to find a good balance and have good people behind me as well that have helped me put this together and helped me kind of focus on my racing and focus on my customers as well. So shout out to Ian Quinn and everybody else who's helping Mark Steele under the tent here this week, in the Quinn family. I know Quinn's father as well, very involved in the Steele tent this weekend as well. But we'll see how Mark Steele gets along here in this qualifying session. And again, just to start a long weekend set to come their way. They have heat racing action later. They have night racing tomorrow night. And Mark Steele as well. He's in the Senior Showdown. He was one of the past champions, so he's going to be in the Senior Showdown tomorrow night. So look out for Mark Steele to be in that and race against some of the younger guys as well here.
Yep. So we'll see as they start to get some times on these people. How will Ryan Kasner hold up? Darryl, there it is. Sean Meyer quickly bumps him from the pole with a 22.492. And now Eric Fagan, somebody I mentioned that you got to keep an eye on him, 22.005. They're going to break into the 21-second bracket here, I think, right now. Right now it's Fagan holding on. Jeff Duliang gets a 22.465. Sitting on the outside pole. Sean Meyer drops the third. Ryan Kasner drops the fourth. And look at McIntyre. McIntyre in fifth with a 22.573. But it's Eric Fagan right now in cart number 175. He's the person to beat with a 22.005 on the verge of breaking into the 21-second bracket. Kevin May comes up 484 with a 22.460, pulls up into that second slot, outside pole right now. Fagan still holding on to the pole with a 22.005. Will anybody? Sean Meyer has dropped down to fourth. I'm looking at some of the names here. There should be some other people coming up to the front.
Yeah, more drivers still getting set to cross the line here in a couple of moments as well. So we'll see how they get along. But again, Fagan, one of the drivers for the MGM team that I didn't mention, but it's going to be really quick, and he's already shown his pace here early on. We're following along with Chris Carroll here on the Coyote black, blue, and white machine. We'll see how Carroll comes across the line here. Daryl Timmers comes across. Sean Meyer goes quickest to 53 crossing now. Ryan Cassidy's up to fourth.
There we go.
Chris Carroll's up to fourth. Fagan goes up to second. How about it for Eric Fagan on the MGM machine?
Holding in there.
To get up to the second spot, but Meyer's doing a really good job here to hold on to the pole position.
Meyer's a Coyote driver, 21.697. I said they would break into that 21-second bracket, and they did. Fagan now with a 21.764. Daryl Timmers with a 21.820. Chris Carroll in fourth with a 21.999. Cassidy in the top five. I predicted he would do better than that, but he's still got a lap to go. Yeah, he's got a 22.143. He's got to break into that 21-second bracket. Carroll now trying to get around somebody.
Yeah, Fagan dropped a tire there on the exit of what looked to be the cell tower hairpin. So Chris Carroll can't afford for Fagan to make another mistake like that, 'cause that's going to affect another one of his laps.
It'll hold them
He
both
can't
up,
bump
yeah.
him. He can't even touch
can't
Eric
bump
Fagan
him.
here. So this is going to affect one Fagan's lap because he put it off the racetrack, and Carroll's lap as well, who has to hold up so he won't get into the rear end of Eric Fagan. And they're going to come across here now shortly. White flag will be in the air this time around, and I'm mistaken, checkered flag in the air this time around. This is it for your Masters qualifying session. Sean Meyer going to be one of the first ones to cross the stripe here shortly. Everybody to the bottom of the racetrack. Who's going to take the pole position? Mark Steele's up to 4th. Tremors Meyer goes even quicker on his final lap. And this is it here for Chris Carroll, who currently sits in 5th. He can't improve with Fagan's mistake. He goes 2nd. Galonia's up to 8th. Dr. Todd Barron crossing the stripe here shortly, but Sean Meyer in the 30 Coyote machine on the provisional pole position. Purple lap after purple lap. He was quickest since he hit the racetrack here. And again, the left-hand side of your screen will update here shortly. But Sean Meyer in the number 30 machine, quickest driver on the racetrack for your Masters, your RLV Fast Lap Qualifier.
Right. I mean, Myers, definitely one of your top drivers, comes back with a really, I mean, he was fast all the laps. 21.325 puts him on the pole. Couldn't count out Eric Fagan, and he's holding on to that outside pole. That's where you need to be. Darrell Timmers in 3rd, Mark Steele in 4th, Chris Carroll in the top 5. Ryan Cassidy did not make the top 5. He drops to 6th. Ian McIntyre in 7th. Joshua Veloz in 8th. Jeff Dolan in 9th. And I picked up David Galawina in the top 10. Now, that's unofficial, of course, and my screen might be a little late, but we definitely know Sean Meyer, Eric Fagan going to rule that front row in this class.
Yeah, there you have Fagan and Chris Carroll kind of debriefing after the session. Sean Meyer in there as well, taking the helmet off. You see the number 30 machine there in the suit for the Coyote Precision Performance Karting team. There was a great qualifying there for Meyer, just the start. Mark Steele as well had a good one, putting himself inside of the top 4 on the 2nd row, starting on the outside. Todd Barron's back there, and a lot more in this class as well. This was a great start to the qualifying session. We just saw medium, we just saw Masters as well hit the racetrack, and it continues to ramp up as the weekend goes on here.
Yeah, this Masters class being brought to you by CRG, LSR Motorsports. What a great race we're going to have, well, in all the classes, but man, some surprises here, and I predicted there would be surprises with the amount of drivers we have and some of the drivers that we don't know and the drivers we do know. But it is so critical that everything is at its peak, that you have everything right. And like I said, I think in that medium class, you're going to see some changes going on there. I think some people might have predicted the wrong setup when they went out there. I can't believe some of those top drivers were not up there up front, and we'll see what happens as the day goes on and then what happens in the end at the feature.
Yeah, and again, one of the things that I want to point out here, for these guys to be out there driving, I mean, the fitness that you have to go this many laps. I know the cold weather as well helps it out just a little bit, but everybody here that's racing this weekend, superstars in their own respect, and they show us how it's done. Coming up next here, your 206 Kit Karts, a different layout for these young drivers as well. We saw that track map populate earlier on as well. And what was the cut through for these young drivers, and a couple of other cut throughs as well to slow down the lap time. Here's the track map again. The regular lap goes all the way around in the Kit Kart layout. Cuts through what would be the original turn number 3. You go into turn number 14, the scoreboard corner, into the Monza, and then you take a left there really quickly, and you don't go to I-70 for the Kit Karts. You take a left there into what would be, turn 17 right after that, which would be turn 18 for the Kit Karts, and on a turn number 19 onto the main straightaway. So a different layout for these young drivers, but this track, I mean, the amount of drafting opportunities here on the main straight, on the back straight, throughout, going into the green corner station and all these showcase corners as well. It's definitely going to show us some great heat racing action. And one of the things that I learned about even doing this event last year was you can't really afford to put yourself in a tangle earlier on in the race, because you're going to be affected as the race goes on. And if you find yourself in a fight on lap number 1, that's not going to help you out. The key here at CKNA, one thing that I've learned is staying in a line, biding your time with whoever that you're racing with, and being patient, pushing each other along, working together, and kind of negotiating. All right, you know what? You're faster. You go ahead. You try to lead the pack here and try and get us further and further up the field here.
I know, interesting enough, I talked to a lot of drivers over the weekend, and a lot of them were a little bit miffed that we're going all the way down to I-70 instead of using that cut-through right there. They seem to like that a lot better, but of course we got to change the track every year.
Yep. And we gave them a longer straightaway.
Yeah, longer straightaway.
This is great, though. I really like this new layout as well. I mean, racing the one that we had last year compared to this one, and just a little bit longer into the I-70. I know people were excited about that I-70 hairpin getting added here this weekend, and I know this is a layout that we ran for 3 weekends back to back to back, but not yet in the 206 categories so far this year, and this is great. Honestly, I'm super happy with the decision. Oh, one driver, well, I thought it was going on. Different layout here, fellas. That's my mistake.
Taking a shortcut.
That's my mistake.
He did the right thing.
I'm wrong here at this point, but man, already scared me here just a little bit.
I
was
was
like,
hitting the grass
the wrong way.
Yeah, no, he's doing the right thing here. Kid Karts being brought to you by Max Torque. We thank Max Torque for doing this. And let's see, the Kid Karts, we did split them up. Officially, we weren't going to do that, but there was enough of them. And with 26 drivers, they do split them up. So this is the first pack to take out there. We'll see what happens. So the Kid Karts on a little different setup, as Caleb was telling you. He was telling you about where they turn off and stuff, so it gives them a little bit of a different racetrack. And as they get older, they'll get onto the full track, that's for sure. So here they come, and we'll start getting some times on the Kid Karts, being brought to you by Max Torque.
And it seems like we lose them so fast. Well, they're only 3 years in Kid Karts, and we lose them so fast. They start moving up to the other ranks and whatever. Some kid could be so dominant at 5 years old, 6 years old, and all of a sudden they get to that 8-year-old range and start hitting another class, and wow, they end up way back, and they've got a whole lot to learn. Big
wreck here on our cameras. The 22 and what looked to be the 23 there as well, getting involved in an incident. That's Gavin Metz in the 22, and in the 23 looked to be another driver that's out there on the racetrack. We'll look to get a name on that number here shortly as well.
Now you want to be so
Jackson Jorda.
You want to be so careful.
Yeah, and again, this is exactly the reason why they split this class up into two. Again, on the original schedule, it was only supposed to be one session. Everybody's going to be out there on the racetrack, but you know how congested it can get with so many young drivers and a much tighter racetrack, a much smaller racetrack. And this is great as well that all these kids are able to become a part of the Cup Karts North American Grand Nationals at the end of the year. After all the hard work that the parents put in, and being a part of this event is surreal for some of these young drivers.
Look at this, Kip Canals up to that fourth position with a minute 46.863. Jackson Jorda with a 46.854 puts him in third right now. Will Freierisen?
Oh, Freierisen.
Freierisen with a 46.547 puts him up in second, and.
Koa Dozette.
Cohen Dozette goes to the pole with a 46.053.
And there's two Dozettes, and the other one didn't come race this weekend. I'm not sure why. He's not here on site, but yeah.
Checkered flag in the air this time around here.
Cohen Dozette right now holding on to that 46.053. I believe they'll break into the 45-second bracket, Dave. Yeah. But right now it's the number 6 of Cohen Dozette sitting on the pole. The number 95 of Will Freiersen with a 46.547. Jackson Jordan in third. Kevin Metz in fourth. Kip Knaus in the top 5 right now, running in fifth, number 66.
Oh, he improved quite a bit. He wasn't quite as fast back in happy hour, so it's nice to see that.
He's doing pretty good out there, so we'll see what happens here. We still got another group to qualify, though.
Kip was just really, really thankful he won a door prize. He won a chain.
Okay.
He is so happy.
Have you guys given out the rest of the prizes as well this weekend, Dave?
I don't know. It's probably on Facebook, but
they do it on.
I think everybody's waiting for one thing, and that's a cheese ball.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Right?
and we've got another drivers meeting at 3:10 this afternoon for the second half.
Yeah, second half. And again, I was like, why is everybody going back to back here? And I forget we're splitting 2 halves of the day, and that's great. Or else you're going to be sitting around for about 3 hours until you hit the racetrack for the second time, right? So that keeps everybody on schedule. There's big gaps in the day as well to be caught up with the schedule. So a huge shout out to the entire team as well. One of the gold carts going to lead the field out.
Yeah, Spencer Height. He's our fast driver from the East. He's won the Spring Nationals, the Summer Nationals, and he's the East champion in Kid Karts.
Yeah.
So he's somebody to keep an eye on, but we have a lot of other drivers here. We'll see what happens.
A couple of our drivers from Texas as well. There I saw Bodie Byer work his way through from Waco, Texas on the Top Kart USA machine, as well as Dusty Scherer. Kid's been so dominant this year in TSRS racing action. And I saw a couple of more. One of the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy's Kid Karts is also out there on the racetrack. So a huge shout out to all the families from Texas that came out here. I hope you guys had safe travels, whether it was flying or driving out here. But good to see a couple of familiar faces, a couple of young faces, and Dusty Strayer, he made sure that I saw him and said hi to him as well this morning. So it's always great to hang out with these young superstars, and I've seen a lot of drivers start here and work their way up through the ranks as well. This is Strayer's last Kid Kart race as well, so before he moves up to the Micro Swift and the 206 Cadet class as well.
Okay, and you got Tristan Ruth from Arizona also out there. So we'll see what happens here. But right now, I mean, I got to put my money with our East Coast champion, our East champion. He's done a great job. Spencer Height on his gold kart, and of course, Snap Your Neck Power. So let's see, here they come. Right now, the person to beat is Cohen Dozit with a 46.053. I believe they will break into the 45-second bracket. And yes, Spencer Height breaks into the 45. He gets a 45.203. But Grant Heckman bumps him from the pole with a 44.65, breaking into the 44-second bracket. Grant Heckman, now you got to be in the 44-second bracket. This is going to be tough for these drivers. Number 37, Tristan Ruth, gets a 45.150, and Ruth out of Arizona, just somebody I was just mentioning. These are these drivers that come from far distances that I didn't know and saying they could be a challenge. And right now, Ruth in the number 37 gets a 45.150, but in order to bump Grant Heckman, number 222 from the pole, you got to be in that 44-second bracket. Height drops to third. Dustin Strayer out of Texas drops to fourth. Also, Bodie Bayer out of Texas in fifth. Your top five. A lot of visiting drivers. I said there would be a lot of challenges for this Kid Kart class. That could make it hard for somebody like Spencer Height, who was on a winning streak for the last races that he has raced at. And right now, he's definitely got a challenge in front of him. Grant Heckman sitting on the pole with a 44.653. Tristan Ruth outside pole out of Arizona with a 45.150. Height out of Pennsylvania, running in that third spot with a 45.203. Dustin Strayer in fourth. James Fox moves up into the top five.
Yeah, checkered flag in the air this time around here. First couple of drivers going to cross. Heckman crosses. He doesn't improve. Height does. He goes up to second.
There he is.
Dusty Strayer, the driver who's in fourth here, he's going to cross the line just right behind. Tristan Ruth goes across now. Strayer can't improve. Nobody really improving at this stage of the race. Everybody crossing now. Caper Nelson's up to fifth. Bodie Bayer goes up to seventh, improves his lap time. Tristan Francisco only ninth quickest.
Wow.
And we'll see the last couple of drivers as well crossing the stripe here in this Kid Kart class. Nobody improving here further back. So that's going to be it here for your Kid Karts. Grant Heckman on the pole position here, your RLV Fast Lap Qualifier.
So what a race we're going to have here. The number 222 of Grant Heckman with a 44.653, and then Spencer Height in the number 31, the only two drivers to break into that 44-second bracket with a 44.959. The number 31 of Height goes to the outside pole. Man, what a race we'll have here. I see Clyde Clayman. This is one of his first big races. He got a sixth-place starting position with a 45.489. So we got some top drivers now in this Kid Kart class being brought to you by Max Torque.
Yeah, that Grant Heckman and Spencer Height always put up a good battle wherever they race at. Their only issue is they tend to spin a lot. They're very fast, but they tend to spin a lot. And in Spencer's case, both of their case, they can still win. Just because they spin doesn't mean they're gonna.
No, they come back.
And you know who we're missing is Sophia Mendoza.
Oh yeah.
She's usually real strong, and I'm not sure why she's not here this weekend. But yeah, she puts up a good battle too. So Heckman, Height, all kinds of names.
Tristan Ruth out of Arizona. You wouldn't know her. I mean him.
Yeah.
And Dustin Strayer out of Texas.
Arizona.
Yeah. So up next, we got Junior being brought to you by Long Island Youth Karting. Like I said, out of Long Island, a person by the name of Oliver has brought up this sponsorship, trying to help kids in Long Island get into a sport, and he does a great job of that, and we thank him. We thank LIYK for sponsoring this junior class.
Where do they have a track, Tony? In Long Island?
Well, we don't.
Okay.
The tracks have.
Are you involved? Are you part of it?
I mean, I go, but you know, I'm not the guy. We have a person named Rick Keller. Matter of fact, he's at New Jersey Motorsport Park this weekend. Okay. He runs the Vintage East Series. He's involved in it. Oh. And so he's a vintage racer, and you know, he's an old time racer.
Vintage
of course.
karting.
I tell you.
Vintage karting.
Which one?
Vintage karting?
Yeah, vintage
Okay.
karting. Yeah, and Rick Keller is an old IKF champion and stuff, and he's involved in that. But he's also a big. He's out of Long Island, and he wanted to bring karting back, and so he was able to rent the Nassau Coliseum parking lot.
Nice.
And that kind of fell away because they kept raising the price just to rent the
yeah.
parking lot for a day. It was over $3,000. So yeah, look how many entries you would need to cover that. And then you bring all the stuff to set it up, and they wouldn't let him leave it there. He had to take it home and all of this. So now we have a place. It's the Grumman, the old Grumman testing airfield where they used to test jets and do all of this stuff. So they got huge runways. And they've given a runway to, well, I guess Rick rents it, and he sets up a kart track on the runway.
Cool.
It's the Calverton area in Long Island. So,
and they've been a sponsor of ours for a couple of years, and we're happy to have them.
Yeah.
So yeah, LIYK.
Yeah, LIYK. Oliver, he did it. He does this for these young kids and gets them involved in a sport that they might not be involved in any other sport.
Sure.
They come into motorsports, and he helps them, and he provides carts for them. I know even a lot of them were MGMs. I think Paul Rice got a little involved. Yeah.
Good.
So we thank LIYK, Long Island Youth Karting, for bringing on this junior class, which is 2 groups, Dave?
Yeah.
Three.
Yeah,
That's
juniors.
I split
And
3 ways.
I figured it was one of the big ones. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. And the holdup that we have here is we're going to wait for the kid carts to get in a safe space as well into the scale line. So that being said, on our side, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, your 206 juniors get set to hit the racetrack here in a couple of moments' time. Don't go anywhere.
Brandon, why are there all these
right,
charges
stop.
for just over $200?
I'm tired of all this branding business, okay? Branding this, branding that. Why are there all these expenses on AKR over $200? We know, okay? Take a walk with me. At Shop AKR, they have everything you need to start racing at a very cheap and affordable price. They have MXC rims, they got chains, electrical stands, tilt seats, they got MXCs. And if you didn't know, on top of that, any purchase in the continental US over $200, that's free shipping.
Hey, aren't you supposed to be in the AKR Anonymous meeting over there?
Dude, I'm doing a commercial.
Dude, we have no time. It's about to start.
Stop. We all love Shop AKR. Me? More than others. What do I get at Shop AKR?
MXC rims.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today. Maryland USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com.
Welcome back here at Castle Motorsports Park for the 8th edition of the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. My name is Caleb Vieska here on the Kart Chaser side, and on the CKNA side, Tony the Toe, Cirillo, and Dave Mack as well have been up here all year long with us, and it's been a pleasure to share the booth with you fellas and to have a laugh or two as well all year long. But on the racetrack now, your 206 junior class. This class is split up into 3 groups. The fastest class is going to be the end of the morning sessions before we get into the first of our heat races. And again, this qualifying session is going to be the last of our free coverage for those of you to view at home. So for $9.99 a month, become a KC Premium member and watch all the racing action live. Again, heat races are going to be for our premium members only later on today. So this is the last of it here before we go back to the free coverage later on in the evening for the afternoon groups. But this is already going to start to heat up. We've talked about all the drivers in this class, all the drivers throughout, the medium class, the Masters class as well that have surprised us and gotten themselves up there. But at the moment here, and again, looking at the official timing here on Race Hero, the left-hand side of your screen, the pylon still yet to be updated when they cross the stripe next time around. But Marcus Wolf, the quickest driver on the racetrack now, 123.288, and that continues to change. Sloan Sterling goes to the top now, and this is just going to get turned on its head every single lap when these drivers cross the timing loop here.
All right, so Sloan Sterling right now with a minute 23.020. So 23.020 right now sits on the pole. The number 258 of Sloan Sterling. Outside pole, the number 11 of Marcus Wolf with a 23.288. Thomas Anthony in the number 317 with a 23.442. Michaela McKee in the number 428 with a 23.604. But the person to beat is the number 258 of Sloan Sterling with a 23.020.
Looking back there in 6th place, I see number 98, Carson Benjamin. His mom is here. They bought a new camper this year just to go racing. So always happy to see Carson doing well.
And it's, again, a huge shout-out to the parents as well.
Yeah.
We put this on for the kids as well to get out here this weekend and to get out here, all year long, to be at the racetrack, keeping the kids out of the house. And you see, this is the type of stuff that can happen here. During the qualifying sessions, the 17 there in the Sodi Racing USA machine, not happy with the driver right behind them, and just telling each other to back off and kind of trying to negotiate here on who's going to lead, who's going to stay behind. Thomas Anthony there in the 317. What looked to be, I don't know if this is Sodi machine here, but it could be another driver as well. Out there, he's off the racetrack,
yeah.
and as I say that, loops it
Oh.
around, and that's going to be the end
out.
for this driver's qualifying session. Everybody's able to get through off the racing line there for the 11. My mistake for that Sodi machine, and that's Marcus Wolf. Sat 6th in this qualifying session. He's going to be out here prematurely.
Tough break, but he still had a lap down.
Yeah.
I mean, he got a lap recorded, so he'll probably hold close to that, if not hold the 6th place position right now. But we still got 2 more groups to qualify, so things are really going to change up. But right now, it's the 317 of Thomas Anthony with a 22.563. That is the person to beat. He's sitting on the pole. The 08 of Lucian Laser.
Lucian Laser, correct?
Lucian Laser. 22.712 sits on the outside pole.
Yeah, on the outside pole here in this one. Everybody else still continuing to come across now. Checkered flag in the air, so that's going to be it for your first group in qualifying here for your 206 juniors. Thomas Anthony just went quickest. He set the fastest lap on his final lap at 122.499. But, on how we saw the happy hour session end up and how we saw it all progress, we are expecting a lot quicker lap times here as this qualifying session goes on. Checker flag in the air, and again, this is Ready Racing here. The second group is going to be quick out onto the racetrack after everybody works their way into the pits here. And, we still haven't seen Wakefield, we still haven't seen Malquit, and we still haven't seen a lot of other drivers. This is still early stages here. Just the first couple of drivers crossing the line now. A couple able to improve. Meyer Lewis goes up to 5th, and they work their way into the scale line. We wait for the second group here onto the track next. And this is where, you exchange a couple of words, exchange a couple of, I guess, updates there. And you see one of the Sodi drivers talking on the 96 there and kind of relaying what they got out of that qualifying session, where they ended up, what lap times they were able to put in. But that's it for these drivers, and next time they hit the racetrack, it's going to be straight into heat racing action.
So we do have one of our drivers here, for the number 51 of Eric Hubert. He got a 22.877, put him in the 4th starting position for right now. He's out of New York City, actually. He races at the Long Island track, though. So, and also I saw Michaela McKee out of Colorado and qualified in the 7th place position. So we still got 2 more groups to qualify, but right now it's the number 317 of Thomas Anthony with a 22.499, and that maybe, hopefully, or maybe I say will change. They will get into the 21-second bracket with the faster drivers, but maybe not. But I think they will. So right now, Thomas Anthony, the number 317 with a 22.499, of course, a minute and 22.499. And we'll wait for the next group to come out of this junior class, being brought to you by LIYK. And we thank Zamp Helmets for being the presenting sponsor of this whole race.
Dave Mack, I'm just now looking over at your shirt, and I like all the little CKNA logos that are on there. Where can I get one like that?
Canada.
You have to work in the Canadian series.
Oh, man, that's
Dave,
great.
Dave makes us all look bad. He comes up with the Canada shirt. And
I'm going to take my jacket off. You're trying to show off my Kart Chaser shirt right here on the booth.
That is nice.
We'll see what we got going on
I like
for
those.
us.
If you got any extras, I'll wear.
Yeah, we'll see if we got any more extras. We'll see. I think these are actually out of commission now.
Yeah.
This was the first generation, so
No.
I'll over here puff my chest a little bit.
There you go.
The shirt
Show it
sponsored
off.
by Pride. Again, for those of you wanting some racing gear, go over to Pride Racing Gear and get everything that you need. Our merchandise as well is live on that site. So you can go in the link of our bio, link of Pride Racing Gear's site as well. So go and look at that. But Dave, it's kind of like a Hawaiian style shirt there as well. I'm just noticing.
Close,
That's nice.
It's a little cooler in the summer. And,
yeah. I mean, being from Minnesota here for Dave Mack, this weather's probably just
this
good
is
morning coffee
nothing.
for him, right? For me, being from Texas, I was bundled up this morning. Coming over from Texas, it was 90 degrees out there, very warm. And I get here last night, and it's about in the 40s, and I'm like, man, this is not how I want to be spending my Grand National weekend. Cold, and it was nuts. But the sun's out now, so that's always great.
I was talking to somebody from Phoenix, and they said, they said it's nice to get out of the heat because it's really hot there.
No, for sure. We have a little bit of a mix. As one driver off the racetrack, the 279, Ricardo Kart Machine. I'm not sure if he's with the Steel Motorsports team, but the 279 there off the racetrack before this session even gets going here.
Just struggling to get it back on.
And we'll try to put a name with that number here as well for the 279 that finds himself on the racetrack.
Adam Saldana.
And great you guys found that, because with about 100 drivers in this junior class, you have to scroll all the way down the timing order to find a couple. 91 to be exact in this junior class. Wow. This is insane for sure, but I mean, this is great. We're loving every second of this.
Yeah. It's going to be really an exciting event here this whole weekend, and I can say it's more than a race. It's huge
event.
It is unbelievable of the things that are going on. And wait till tomorrow night with the other stuff that Greg has planned along with Briggs and Stratton and everybody else that's involved in that. That's going to be really. And Kart Chaser said they're going to put that on for free. The Briggs and Stratton.
Yeah, the out-of-the-box challenge, the senior showdown as well will be free for everybody to view. And again, that's just another cool event that we have here.
And we thank Kart Chaser for that.
And again, we thank the sponsors that have us out here, right? The Barron Racing Team, Greg Jasperson, for wanting us back here this year. This is an event that me personally, racing 206 myself, this is an event that I look for. And when I heard Xander say good morning and welcome everybody live around the world, that gave me chills standing trackside here, because this is the marquee event that we have on the grassroots side of things. And as well, this isn't even grassroots anymore, because this is the pinnacle of 206 racing around the world here.
I call it the best spec racing you can find.
Yeah,
it's
a
good
sure.
description. It's definitely spec racing. I mean, everything is spec'd, and that's what made this so interesting and makes the competition so tight. And that, like I said, you could be off 1 tooth on your gear, the 1 pound on your tire pressure, and maybe with the group that's here, you could drop to 10th or 15th, But it's just unbelievable, the competition.
Tony, you actually mentioned NASCAR earlier on today, and I think that's the biggest comparison that we have here. Another one big comparison that I could say is MX5 Cup as well is very much like this as well. It's a very draft-dependent, racing series. Is one driver off the racetrack again, the 279. So Saldana off the racetrack there, and his story is actually quite a special one as more drivers find themselves off the racetrack. But Saldana, I mean, indeed, he has had some issues, but his story is actually kind of crazy. He's from Canada, traveled 15 hours to the first Cup Karts race that was in Quebec, traveled 10 hours to the second race that was in Lombardy, and the third race was at his home track, but traveling 15 and 10 hours to get to both of those is crazy. Is crazy. He was top 10 in his respective group in the morning warm-up sessions, but when they tried to come across the border the first time around, they got denied. The second time they got denied as well, and Adam went out of his way and talked to officials at the border to try and get his dad and get his family across so they could be able to come and do this event. And you see what it means to all the families that come out here week in, week out, and through determination, he's out here racing this weekend at Cup Karts North America at the 8th edition of the Grand Nationals, and that's what this event is all about. This event brings families together, brings communities together to get drivers like Adam out here, and I know there's more stories as well for people putting on efforts to get here this weekend, and as well to any single race or any race throughout the calendar as well. But that's a great story that was shared by Adam's father, and again, you could see him getting emotional when he was telling me the story, and this is great. Through determination, this kid put it all together, and just a junior as well to be here this weekend and racing, and and even out there. I know he struggled so far in this qualifying session, going around twice, but I mean, to be here and all he had to go through, this is just great to be out there on the racetrack for him.
I mean, the other thing you got to consider is the pressure on these drivers. Being at an event like this, and especially a driver coming in that has a lot of people rooting for them, knowing that they are the local champion or something. They feel they have to do good. So a lot of pressure on these drivers, which could affect the way they get around the track, because they're so worried about making a mistake in front of the crowd that's here and the drivers they have to compete against. So I know how it feels to be a driver with that type of pressure on you, that you feel like everybody's watching your every move.
Well, especially these juniors, they're so emotional. They're at that age, a teenage age, they're so emotional to begin with, and they're just nervous about everything.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to be nervous to see the white flag come out in the air this time around. Going to be the last time around for all these drivers in their respective groups. Isaiah Maxey, the quickest driver on the racetrack now, 121.911 here. That driver, quickest on the racetrack, that's a 22, the 0:22 here. That's on the racetrack, but the checkered flag will be out for all these drivers the next time around. Will Wilkie sits in second. Christopher Golett sits in third. Thomas Anthony fourth. Shane Smith rounds up your top 5 here.
Yeah, Isaiah Maxey broke into the 21-second bracket with a 21.911, the 0.222. Will Wilkie with a 22.266, but you got to be in that 21-second bracket. Christopher Golett with a 22.457 in third. Thomas Anthony drops to fourth. He was on the pole for a while. Shane Smith in fifth. Colt Schulhauser,
Schlaughauer maybe?
Schlaughauser. Sorry about that. 0.45 drops to seventh as somebody moved up here.
I think Trevor Clinton is 61.
Trevor Clinton.
Yeah, on his third lap. That was his personal best, a 122.318. And again,
he's out of Texas.
So that's good to know for Trevor Clinton there. That's out of Texas. I haven't seen him much as well on our side of things. So he's right around me, actually. I'm from Cypress, Texas, just a suburb of Houston. So for him to be from Spring, Texas, we're not too far from each other. Good to see Trevor out here this weekend. But checkered flag in the air now, and again, only the second group of qualifying here. We're still waiting for the heavy hitters to get out there on the racetrack. That's the first group. Everybody working their way into the scale lines. And again, for those of you watching on at home, for those of you watching on in the paddock, this is the end of our free coverage for the morning warm-up sessions. To watch all the racing action live throughout the weekend and throughout the month, watch for $9.99 a month and become a KC Premium member. We still have more sessions. We have one more group
to go.
We have one more group to go, and that'll be the last of our free coverage. So again, make sure to subscribe and join the KC Nation so you can watch everything live as this weekend goes on. You're not going to want to miss even one of the heat races later on today.
And I would imagine, Caleb, you can put that on like a recurring charge or something on your credit card and just be done with it.
Yeah, mine's funny enough. I work for the company and I have a recurring charge going on. I actually am too lazy to go back and delete my account on iOS and go back onto my desktop and do it that way. And that's just $3 I'm giving away out of my pocket here. So
what you're preaching to everybody about, you didn't do yourself. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so it's just it's not a lot of work. It's just I guess a lot of time. It's not that I don't have time. It's that I haven't made the time to go do it. So there's time for everything.
Everybody go sign up. You'll have it for indefinitely.
Yeah,
if you want.
Yeah.
No, great story there. So here we go with the third and final run of the junior class, being brought to you by LIYK. And some reason I lost my screen. So
juniors, lots of juniors out there. What I think you said like 90-something juniors total. So
so we had to break them up into 3 groups.
Yep.
And it was, I believe, Maxey that was out in front. But
I Isaiah,
I lost Maxey, Isaiah. There we go.
Isaiah Maxey,
Isaiah Maxey. And with the 21.911, that's going to be the time to beat. I believe that's going to 21 seconds might be the time that they're going to stick with. I don't know if anybody could break into the 20-second bracket, a minute and 20-second, of course. Everything's a minute. I'm just dropping that minute here, so make it a little easier. Will Wilkie with a 22.228 sits on the outside pole, but this is the final group to qualify in the LIYK. And as Caleb's been telling everybody, this will end the free coverage of Kart Chaser, and then we'll go to hopefully you'll get a subscription and get on so you could watch the rest of the action. Kart Chaser is still going to do some free broadcasting tomorrow night, especially for the Briggs & Stratton out of the box race.
Oh, that's the fun stuff.
Right, and then the All-Star race that'll happen after that. And those 2 races were by invite only.
Yep.
So
Senior Showdown, out of the box.
Senior
Burgers
Sure,
brought some beer.
the out of the box, you could get your way into that as well by purchasing the entry fee for that. Get an engine, and again, you have to put your chassis up for sale at the end of it. So that'll be one of the things to look out for. And the Senior Showdown was the invite only. There is going to be a promoter's pick that is going to work his or her way into the main event. There's a fan vote pick as well. For them to get in, and as well a raffle winner, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken here.
I don't.
And again, just 3 drivers that are going to get in. One, by doing your job on social media, Facebook, telling mom, dad, uncle, aunt,
Vote for me.
grandpa, and grandma, and telling everybody, friends in high school, friends and wherever you can find them, reaching out and getting them, you know what, I want to get into this race. Why don't you vote me in to race against some of the heavy hitters here in the Senior Showdown. Legends from all across. Mark Steele's in that race. McKeithen, your reigning champion as well. And it's going to be a great event for every 206 purist out there. And as well for the out-of-the-box challenge. That's something that people have talked about year in, year out. Just do 206 out of the box, have them race it, and we're finally getting it this year.
No, what that is you are going to have a number, a draw. There's going to be X amount of engines new in the box. Yeah. You have 20 minutes from when you get that engine to put it together and get it as fast as you think you can make it.
And the first one to put it together gets pole position.
And that's qualifying, indeed. So that's going to be a great event. That's all tomorrow, though. And here on the racetrack, your 206 juniors still working their way around. Isaac Malquit, the 75, Mark Steele Motorsports machine. When you talk about little sizzle, he definitely packs a punch here this weekend, and anytime he hits a CKNA racetrack. Christopher Wakefield as well. He just went to the top of the timing sheet here, a 121.774. Lucas Thack goes up to 3rd. Will Wilkie holds on to the 4th spot. And a couple of other drivers as well working their way up. Christopher Utzi's up to 6th, and more working their way up. Brady Shad is up to 8th as well.
Yeah, so some good drivers here. I predicted Christopher Wakefield is one of the persons to beat in his junior class. Right now holding with a 21.774. Isaiah Maxey doing great. I mean, it was in the other group.
Yes.
Had the pole, still up into that outside pole position with a 21.911. You got to be in that 21 second bracket. Of course, 1:21. You got to be up there if you want to run with Wakefield and Maxey. We'll see what happens here. Lucas Steck with a 22.103 on the verge of breaking into the 21. Will Wilkie with a 22.228. And Trevor Clinton in 5th. Wait, and there is Isaac. Whoa, Holden Harder. Somebody else I predicted who moved up to juniors. He was not in juniors last year. Moved up to juniors. As I keep an eye on Holden Harder, 21.660. But it's Brady Shad that comes back with a 21.348 and takes the pole. Kart number 65. Brady Shad gets a 21.348, takes the pole. J.J. O'Neill up to the 2nd spot, outside pole with a 21.502. Lucas Steck holds on to 3rd. Holden Harder drops back to 4th. Look at Wakefield back in 5th. Oh, man. Beckham Lewis gets up into that 6th spot with a 21.855. But the person to beat is the 65 of Brady Shad with a 21.348. Kart number 65, Brady Shad, 21.348. J.J. O'Neill in the 92, 21.502. There he is. You see him on the screen. J.J. O'Neill. Can he get past Brady? Can he turn a better time than Brady Shad? We'll have to wait and see as he crosses the start-finish line.
Checkered flag will be in the air this time around here. First couple of drivers getting set to cross. They're going through the I-70 hairpin right now. But when they cross the stripe, this is going to be it. Checkered flag will be in the air here. Wakefield looking to work his way further up than 6th. Shad looking to hold on to the provisional pole position.
92 right there.
And J.J. O'Neill in the 92 looking to improve and snag the pole position away from Brady Shad. Checkered flag in the air. Holden Harder to the top here. Still a lot more drivers set to cross here. Shad crossing now. He retakes the pole at 121.173. Here comes Derek Wargo, who sits on the edge of the top 10. He doesn't improve. Cade Yeager goes up to 5th. J.J. O'Neill holds on at 3rd.
Right.
A lot more still getting set to cross here, but the top 10 holding strong here so far. Brady Shad, if it stays this way, and it doesn't seem like anybody else is going to improve, just on the edge of the top 10. Brady Shad is your RLV Fast Lap Qualifier here in 206 Junior. And again, a couple of notables outside of the top 10. Isaac Malquit, only 11th quickest. Just couldn't improve his lap time there, it seemed like, Tony, but
Yeah.
It holds on. Sebastian
he's
Day
a
as
top-
well, pretty late in that
Yeah.
session. He goes up to third, takes the inside line as well, and a couple of more shuffles there on the left-hand side of your pylon. Still populating with the amount of drivers. It's hard for our timing screen to keep up, but there you have it. Brady Shad on the pole position here in 2:06 juniors. All the grids are set for your morning warm-up sessions. It's time to go into heat racing action. We start all over with the first couple of groups and go through all the classes all over again. This is the end of our free coverage here for the morning warm-ups. We'll see you on the other side if you're not going to join our nation, but we are going to go straight into qualifying session. For myself, Caleb Vieska, Tony the Tosarillo, Dave Mack for CKNA, Xander Clements as well. We'll see you guys on the other side.